0985. That's the phone number if you want to jump aboard. We're going to have more reaction to the Patriots win from the weekend, and I'm already looking ahead to the Seattle Seahawks, who were winners last week, 26-20 against Denver. I'm already ready to break it down. Tomorrow night, I'll have a few more notes just regarding where Seattle ranked, where they ranked last year, how it compares. There's some interesting Jacoby Brissett numbers that I wanted to get into tomorrow night as well, just regarding the new head coach of Seattle. But tonight, I want to just look at some of the matchups and where to look at when it comes to the Patriots, and is there a soft spot in Seattle? So we'll start there tonight. Again, the phone number is 617-779-0985. You can follow us on YouTube. Watch along if you'd like. What I do is I just take the remote and I hit that little speaker button and I say 98.5 The Sports Hub YouTube. Boom. And then it just pops right up. And you can join the chat as well. Chat is always bumping. I'll get that going in just a little bit. But just a couple of things from last week when it comes to the Patriots. I've already told everybody that I still think the Patriots will have one of the worst records in the NFL this year. I've bet it. I think they'll have the worst in the NFL. But I don't think they're as bad as some of the other teams that maybe we saw on Sunday. And in particular, I thought the Jets last night, oh my God. Like, the Jets again, is it their coach? Like, what is it? It's probably the coach. Maybe Rodgers is washed. I don't know. But I still think they're better than the Patriots. And I still feel like there's some things that are clear from Sunday. One game only. The Patriots maybe aren't what the Giants are and what the Panthers are. So maybe I'll take an early season L. I don't know. Maybe the Patriots fall back a little bit and the Panthers and Giants kind of meet them. But the Patriots might not be a good team this year. They might not be. For 1 week, I enjoyed it. I think we all enjoyed it. But they looked functional, and I think they can be functional, which is something that we could not say about last year's team. I personally, the more it goes on, I feel like Bill Belichick just tanked it. Just let the Mac Jones saga happen. The team fell apart. There was no coaching going on. It was going through the motions, and then at the end of the year, it was time to move on. So it's hard for me to really compare things to last year's team, but when it comes to week one, there were some major upgrades for the Patriots, and special teams just was number one for me, and I thought quarterback play was 2, and 3, coaching. Gerard Mayo looked like a guy who, we had a lot of question marks about him, but seemed confident. And here's the other thing. This is just the number one thing I want to point out about Sunday when it comes to the Patriots, and I want to see how long this thing goes for. These guys wanted to play for Gerard Mayo. I know people liked being coached by Bill Belichick. I'm sure some people did not like being coached by Bill Belichick. But these guys wanted to play for Gerard Mayo. You saw it this week. And now, based off some of those Giants games and Panthers games you saw this weekend, I think some people have optimism heading into week 2 when you look at the Seattle Seahawks. There's a potential 2-0 chance here. And let's not forget the Jets will be on national television, who lost last night to a team that lost the Super Bowl. The Jets were the only team in the AFC East not to get a win on Sunday or this weekend. I mentioned Seattle won 26-20 over a rookie quarterback in Denver on Sunday. They got off to a really slow start. They had 2 safeties in the first half. What's Seattle going to do? They're probably going to try to hold back Ramondre Stevenson, who was the MVP of the Patriots. Ran for 120 yards and a touchdown. And, the offensive line didn't make it easy for him, but he ran downhill. And I'm sure you may have seen some notes regarding Stevenson, but of 39 qualified running backs in week 1, he ranked 36 in yards before contact. So he was hit early, but he ranked second after contact, only behind Aaron Jones, according to Pro Football Focus. And the Patriots certainly showcased him. He broke 10 tackles, most in the league. And it was double the next highest in the league. But taking a look at Seattle, they have their own running game that will be tough to beat. Kenneth Walker, to me, is an up-and-coming running back in this league, just a player in this league. He rushed for 103 yards on 20 carries versus Denver. Seattle as a whole rushed for 146 yards in total. They also have another back in Zach Charbonnet from UCLA. Geno Smith even had a rushing touchdown. But here's one thing I wanted to bring up on Kenneth Walker. He rushed for 84 of his 103 yards and a touchdown in the second half. And he sparked a rally. Because the first half was all mistakes for Seattle. That's how they came out. New coach, mistake, mistake, mistake. They were sloppy. But they leaned on their running back in Kenneth Walker. Let's not forget, they have DK Metcalf as their star player. Tyler Lockett sees a lot of action because Metcalf can be double-teamed. Combined, Lockett and Metcalf, 9 catches for 106 yards on Sunday. The Patriots were outstanding in the secondary. Christian Gonzalez is getting all the love for how he defended Jamar Chase. Can they do it against DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and some of the other receivers? I mentioned that Seattle has a new head coach in Mike McDonald, who won his debut just like Gerard Mayo and was the youngest head coach in the NFL. When they move on from Pete Carroll after 14 years, they bring in the youngest head coach in the NFL, and they want to move on from that guy. So the two teams are very similar, right? Hall of Fame coaches they're moving on from to go with younger guys. One, again, was with Baltimore all these years, while the Patriots, of course, had Gerard Mayo, but defensive-minded. And their defense was pretty good for about 3/4 of the game. They did lose their left tackle, George Fant, to a knee injury. So how does Keon White now, who is one of the highest-rated players in Week 1, match up against now their backup left tackle, advantage Patriots? There's a few other things I wanted to bring up tonight. We'll break down Seattle and the Patriots. But one other thing I wanted to touch on, and I want to credit Leroy Irvin, who does postgame with myself after every game, but he asked Greg Bedard, hey, what'd you think of Drake May on the sideline in this first game? And it was interesting the comment, but I mean Mayo at least said that he's not going to have any special packages for Drake May. It's Brissett the whole entire way. And maybe the win pushes May's debut back, which is fine for the Patriots. And maybe they do see him in the second half of the season. Who knows? Maybe they start 0-4 the rest of the way. Who knows what happens? But where was Drake May on the sideline? Did you see him with a helmet on? Did you see him with Alex Van Pelt and Jacoby Brissett during timeouts? I wanted to dig into that a little bit tonight. Anybody else see him on the sideline? Do you want to see him doing more? It's a nitpick, but I didn't want to do it yesterday. So we'll react to that throughout the show tonight. Of course, you can call in at 617-779-0985. But the Patriots, they look to go 2-0. They take on Seattle. I got you the betting line as well. And Jacoby Brissett in the running game. How do they attack that Seattle defense? We'll start there. On the other side, we got a couple of guests tonight. We're going to talk to Evan Lazar from Patriots.com. We'll also talk to Brian Barrett from The Ringer. What's going on with the Red Sox? That's on the table. We got in or out, Murray's musings, and a full night of calls at 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray on the way.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray with you tonight until 11 o'clock. I feel like we've had a football game every night, I believe, since like Thursday. And it's like today is like a quiet day on the football front when it comes to actual games. But we're still reacting to the Patriots win from over the weekend. And I'm already looking ahead to this weekend against Seattle. And I went over some of the details and some of the matchups for this week. But I wanted to just give you the betting line. And I saw that most of the early action right now is on the Seahawks. The look-ahead line. So when the schedule got announced this season, the look-ahead line, meaning the line that Vegas set before the season started, was Patriots plus 2.5. So after both teams winning, the line is now 3.5. So money is coming in on the Seahawks, expecting the Patriots to come back down to reality a little bit. So you have to lay 3.5 points if you like Seattle. You're getting 3.5 if you like the Patriots. So just a couple of things I read here. Not only did the Patriots win and do nothing to sway odds makers, but they seem to even feel stronger about their position. I mentioned the look-ahead line. Despite the Patriots winning, and I guess it was impressive, they're even bigger underdogs. We're going to talk to Evan Lazar later on in the show. He's from Patriots.com, but he did a breakdown of Jacoby Brissett, the run game, and there's a few ways that the Patriots can attack Seattle, which I want to get to in a minute, but just getting back to that betting line, the Patriots were the biggest upset winner in week 1. And I'm sure they feel really good, right? They feel good about themselves. They felt disrespected. Devin Godshaw mentioned that. It was Gerard Mayo's first win as a head coach. Nobody picked the Patriots to win on Sunday. That's a fact. I didn't. So sitting 1-0 with a home game, with a team going cross-country that is dealing with their left tackle injury. Kenneth Walker got banged up, by the way, but he says he's fine. They're still working in some things. A new head coach going on the road. I don't see why the Patriots couldn't compete this week. I personally think Seattle's going to run the ball on them and be a little bit with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. I think that the defense will be challenged a little bit more. I also think the offensive line can be picked apart by Seattle. But McDaniel's a defensive-minded coach. He now has tape on the Patriots from what you've seen last week. I did mention that Keon White, now on the outside against their backup left tackle, advantage Patriots. He had 2.5 sacks in the opener. But there's a couple of things I think the Patriots can do this week against Seattle. And they tried to do it against Cincinnati, but it's the play-action pass. The Patriots had an obvious plan against the Bengals. Running the football. That's what it was. And I've looked at a few trends. I know The Athletic had this as well, but Mayo wants to continue to do that. And Ramondre Stevenson, why would you not give him the ball? But at some point, if you can increase the amount of play action, and that's a good question with the offensive line the way it is. If you can get more play action with Ramondre Stevenson wanting the football, you'll be able to take more chances down the field. Now, here's some of the numbers. The Patriots ranked 21st in play action percentage over the weekend. And we thought they'd run a little bit more, but we all expected it to lead to, more downfield throws. So 21st, that should increase a little bit. Here's another thing that kind of went unnoticed this week. Jalen Polk was really involved. He was on the offense a ton on Sunday. Didn't really get involved early on. Wasn't really there for the Brissett progressions. But he was on the field a ton. And I don't know, of all the 4 wide receivers who played, I'd like to see him get involved a little bit more. How about Pop Douglas? Can you look to him a little bit more this week? There are some things that need to change. Polk was open many times. He was targeted once. He had a 6-yard catch. The Patriots need to give him and Jalen Polk and Pop Douglas more opportunities. And I think the way to do that is through play action. The league now knows the Patriots want to run the football. So what do? Play action. I think that's the way to find big chances against Seattle this week. Play action. You didn't see it much. They didn't even have to do it. I told you, ranked 21st. If they want to attack the Seattle defense, play action will be huge, and that's something that Alex Van Pelt excels at. Does Jacoby Brissett excel on that? I do want to start there at 617-779-0985. Skaz, wanted to bring you in on this. Mentioned some of the numbers for Seattle. DK Metcalf and Lockett had a pretty good week last week. 9 catches over 100 yards. Kenneth Walker ran for over 100. Charbonnet had a touchdown. Geno Smith ran for one as well. I just look at this. Fant's a big loss for them at left tackle. Big loss. But I give the Patriots another puncher's chance this week. I just think that if they can't get the play action and the protection, they might have to rely on the running game again. And I feel like if they can run the ball now because everyone knows it, the play action will open up big plays.
Yeah, I think from a Patriots perspective, coming off a week 1 win, Seattle's a pretty soft landing spot for your first home game. You know, obviously they're not the Giants or Carolina, but it's not the 49ers or the Chiefs either. So I think the Patriots definitely have an opportunity here. If, you know, Mayo and crew are who they showed us in week 1, I don't think Seattle should light you up or anything like that. Geno Smith is a solid player and an NFL quarterback, serviceable, but he's certainly not a superstar or anything like that. So I think Christian Gonzalez, another huge game for him. We saw what he did to Jamar Chase over the weekend. Can he replicate that? That just frees up the rest of the defense to, you know, play their game. No one is, you know, over pursuing or trying to do too much, which I think is a big thing that Mayo's kind of emphasized on, how guys just play their roles, know what to do, no one try and do too much. So yeah, I think this is a good spot for the Patriots at home. You get to play the home underdog card, which, you know, hasn't really worked, I guess, in recent years, but it's a new team, new regime. They definitely seem to be listening. By some of their comments post-game after week 1, they were very aware of, you know, some of the narratives, Joe, the chronicles, if you will.
The discourse.
The discourse, yes. So, yeah, I think this is a very good spot for the Patriots. You get to tell your team, hey, look, you just beat the Bengals, but no, they still don't think you can beat the Seattle Seahawks with their rookie head coach at home. So
the Jets are on deck, which as a betting, you should know. But don't you want to go at the Jets now after seeing that last night?
I would love nothing more for the Patriots to be headed into that Thursday night football game 2-0. I think the Jets have an easy one this weekend, or at least on paper. I think they're playing Tennessee. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's just another little wrinkle there that Rodgers and the Jets, that was not great. Not great last night.
I always do the look-ahead thing. I think it's real. I think sometimes teams do look ahead a little bit. Not to mention the Patriots will play them on a short week. But want to know, home opener? Fans are going to be interested. Geno Smith? Like, come on. The Pats got a shot here. Listen, I think the Pats will lose the game. I do.
Joe, as we sit here, I think they win the game Tuesday night.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is I'm not sold on Seattle by any means. The Patriots being 3.5-point underdogs is motivation for them. They felt disrespected last week. Their defense, if it's so good, they'll stop Kenneth Walker. If Christian Gonzalez is so great, he'll lock down DK Metcalf, right? Geno Smith, we know what he is. Why can't the Patriots stop him? That's why I'm looking at the offense. Can Jacoby Brissett now find plays? It's easier to do at home, right? Easier to scheme up things. They got to get Pop Douglas involved. Jalen Polk needs to get involved this week. Hunter Henry needs to be involved, and I think they can do that at home. I think the Pats got a shot. I didn't feel that way earlier. Ultimately, I still feel Seattle wins this game. But it's on the arm of Jacoby Brissett, and it's on the offense. Can they have play action for big plays? If the line can't block and they can't do play action, there won't be big plays downfield. It's going to be run, dink, run, dink. Maybe they want that, Skaz. I don't know. I don't think they can beat a team that just put up 26 to a team that just scored 16. I think you got to open it up a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think this is another big test for Gerard Mayo. How do you keep your guys, level-headed? Do you coming off a big win in week 1? Now you're at home, underdogs. You know the Jets are coming. That's going to be a big national TV game. Can you keep your guys, just focused on Seattle? And on the other side, too, it's another rookie head coach, like you mentioned, defensive-minded. So we have two, kind of an unusual thing in today's NFL, two rookie head coaches that are defensive-minded guys going at it, both coming off week 1 wins. So, yeah, it's just can the Patriots build on week 1, I guess is the biggest question. Can they look how they did defensively and try and open it up a little bit more offensively and just, throw the ball a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive? I don't want to see Jacoby Brissett taking too many shots, but I'd like to see Hunter Henry a little bit more involved. Like you said, Pop Douglas wasn't really involved at all. Yeah, are we going to see Javon Baker in week 2?
Ooh, because Booty didn't play either, but he was active. But the reason why is I think Mayo did it last week. We're going to run the ball on you. I think he's going to do it again. But, first play, Scats. First play. Play action pass. Some sort of, I'm not saying deep ball.
You want a flea flicker off the jump,
Just
Joe?
give me something
is that what you're looking for?
Deep right away. Because if that's the case, they got a shot. 617-779-0985. Tommy's in Lynn. Tommy!
What's up, Joe? What's up, Dad? I'm at Hockey Tower with a little echo.
Where the hell are you?
Hockey Tower, Georgia. Can you hear me?
Nope.
Oh.
Sorry, Tommy.
Tommy calling us from the bottom of a cave, it sounded like. Love you, Tommy. Call back.
We love you, Tommy. We love you. John on the Patriots offense. John.
How you doing, Joe?
Hi.
For the first time in like 4 years outside of the 1 year we went to the playoffs, it didn't feel like our offense was pulling teeth. And oh my God, was that so refreshing. And I could not agree with you more about the play action pass. I think we left a lot on the table on offense.
Yes.
I mean, my brain has been so warped by the 2 to 6 show on this channel. We have a lot more in the tank. 16 points because we were just running the ball down their throat. Demario Douglas is a serious weapon. Jalen Polk is a dog. There is a lot more this offense can do, and I'm damn excited to see it. This team is better than we thought.
Yeah, the only tape that Seattle has is really them running the football. So that's why I'm saying if you can try to attack with the play action, it will open things up just a little bit. 617-779-0985. That's the phone number if you want to jump aboard. I have to do this because the first thing that happened when the Patriots won on the postgame show was the phone lines were loaded with Drake May comments. So, I found something out about Drake May this weekend during the game. Tell you what that is coming up here on the other side. I'm Joe Murray, but first, let's get the Sports Hub headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Patriots were off today. They are going to get back to work tomorrow as they await the Seattle Seahawks. They're off a win.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
A day like today was set up perfect to play a rookie quarterback. You're running the ball, you're in manageable down and distance. The score is low. Possessions for the other team are limited. You're not getting into the shootout with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. It's set up perfect for a rookie quarterback to play. And Jacoby Brissett took full advantage of that, and that's what's going to keep. That's another thing that could keep Drake May on the bench. So they've got a plan for Drake May, and they're going to be judicious about it. But I do think today gave you some hope that this could be a team that could support a rookie quarterback and create the right environment for a rookie quarterback to grow in a little bit.
Back here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. That was Burt Breer talking about Drake May. Every single call post-game. When do you think we see Drake May? When do you think they're going to need packages for Drake May? Hey, do you think Drake May is going to play at all? Which, to the point, Leroy Irvin asked me, Joe, did you see him on the sideline? I said, yeah. He goes, did you see him with a helmet on? I said, no. And then we talked to Greg Bedard in postgame, and I said, hey, did you see him on the sideline? He said, yeah, no helmet. Not going over and talking to Jacoby Brissett or even Van Pelt for that matter. It seems odd to me. I don't want to make anything. I'm not doing it. I'm not the guy that's sitting here and is going to tell you, why was Drake May down on the sideline with a helmet? Blah. I'm not going to do that, but people think I'm going to. It's not where I'm going. But I recall Jimmy Garoppolo always being around Tom Brady. I even remember Ryan Mallett, Brian Hoyer, Brissett. I remember Stidham doing it with Cam Newton. I even remember Bailey Zappi doing it last year with Mac Jones. I don't know if Mac was doing it with Bailey, though, so I'm going to leave that one alone. What was Mac Jones doing on the sideline? Was just taking in his first game with an earpiece? Remember Jacoby Brissett took a big hit? He had to get helped off the field? I just wanted to know if he was throwing a football at the time. Did he get excited and want to just start hucking? Guys, I know we talked about this last night. I don't want to be the guy that is in this city watching what the quarterback is doing on the sideline that's not playing. But I didn't see him with a helmet on. I saw him with an earpiece. Are they telling him to do that? Is that his approach? Is it right or wrong? I don't know. So I just wanted to bring it up. Did anybody else see Drake May on the sideline during the game? And if you did, you saw him just hanging out, chilling, with an earpiece in, without a helmet on. I just found it interesting. Skaz, got anything for me on this one? Because I don't want to make anything out of it. I just wanted to make it a note. It was his first game on a sideline. He's probably never been a backup in his life, right? I don't even think he backed up Howell, did he? I mean, I know he's a redshirt sophomore, whatever it was. But his 2 years that he was with North Carolina, he played. So that might have been the first time he's been on a sideline since, his freshman year of high school. I don't know. Did you look at it? Did you even think about it?
Yeah, so this was something you pointed out to me yesterday. And just right away from a fan's perspective, my first thought was, does he know that he's not getting in that game? No matter what, basically. Is there no shot?
Really?
Well, why else would he be that uninvolved?
Great question, because remember, that's why I brought up the Brissett hit, because if it was me, I would have started hucking balls.
Remember when Peyton would scream at guy or run back out onto the field and blow out, so Brock Osweiler couldn't go take a couple snaps at the end of a game?
Yes.
Usually those backups are, rookies especially, you're ready to go, helmet on, you're standing next to
Jake Haener played the other night, I think, for the Saints or whatever it was.
We had Tyrod Taylor playing
last
for
night.
the Jets last night. So yeah, I didn't notice it during the game. Obviously, it wasn't something I was looking for. But yeah, just from a straight fan perspective, my first thought is, does he know that there's no shot he's going into the game, and that's how he's treating it? Even if he does know that there's no shot he's going into the game, that's not the approach I want him to take. I know it sounds kind of corny, cliche, whatever you want to say, but I want the helmet on. I want him with the offensive coordinator and Brissett when they're on the sidelines. Like, remember Hoyer with Brady all the time? You mentioned it. They'd be going over the iPad with McDaniels and stuff like that. So, yeah, not something I noticed, but Joe Murray is on the lookout.
Leroy.
I'm sorry.
I got
Yes.
No, Leroy said it, and
Proper
then I went many layers.
Yes. So shout out to Leroy. Yeah.
Shout out to Leroy.
Not something I picked up on.
Normally, like, it was just in passing. He just asked the question, "Hey, Gerard Mayo on the sideline. Did you notice Drake May?" And we were all like, "Well, he wasn't wearing a helmet." I don't know. I don't know. I've never been on an NFL side. I don't know what the back. I don't know. Like, should I text Zoe? What do you do, bro? Zoe always had a helmet on and was ready. I know that for sure. You know who else did? Tom Brady. When he backed up Drew Bledsoe. It was weird. Like, Chase Daniel used to wear a backwards hat. Okay, and he was the backup, right?
He was the backup, Joe. Like, guy made $100 million being the backup.
Didn't need the backwards hat was his game face, right? I think that was his look. I really don't want to make anything out of this. I just am curious. Can somebody down there ask them, "Hey, Jacoby was great. He was great. What were the expectations of Drake May on the sideline?" To Skaz's point, it certainly looked like he knew he was not getting in the game. It looked like Jason Tatum at the Olympics. I don't want to go there. I'm asking questions because it's new down there. Everything's new down there. I don't know. Because since it's all new and they're so transparent, is it a bad question to ask? Hey, what was Drake May doing on the sideline? Some people said that this is funny. People in the chat right now are like, "Oh, he was listening to the How to Be a Backup for Dummies. The coaching staff was making him listen to the play call live and repeat it back. Audiobooks on how to be a backup. Who cares about him not wearing a helmet, Joe? I don't know. I don't know. Your thoughts, 617-779-0985. Got to give Leroy props for that. This is how the other rookies did this weekend. Bo Nix last week against Seattle. 26 of 42, 138 yards, 2 interceptions. That McDaniel defense is good, I'm telling you. The Baltimore Ravens looked different, right, the other night? No McDaniel. Bo Nix ran a little bit, too. 5 for 35 and had a rushing touchdown. So maybe that would benefit Jacoby Brissett. Let's talk to, Tommy's back. Tommy, what do you got, buddy?
What's up, Joe? What's up, Skaz?
Got you now.
How you guys doing?
Sounding great,
All
bro.
right. All right. I liked how they played on both sides of the ball. The defense, Christian Gonzalez, we're going to start with him shutting down Jamar Chase. That was good. And then who else was playing good on the defense? Defense is pretty good in the whole game. Special teams, Kobe Brissett had a good game. Ramondre Stevenson. And, Joe, like you said, Kalen Polk was stepping up. Mm-hmm. Now we need the man Douglas to start stepping up. And KJ Osborne has Butterfingers.
Butterfingers Osborne. Sorry, Tommy. We couldn't hear you. Butterfingers Osborne? KJ Butterfinger? John's in Rhode Island. Hey, John.
Hey, Joe. Big fan. First time calling in. Hey, I was at the game on Sunday. First time going to an away game. It was a hell of an experience. But we were sitting behind the visitor's side, pretty high up. But I actually leaned over to my dad at one point, and I was like, it's a little strange that May is standing. At the time, he was standing, the total other side of the bench. Mayo's on the other side, and the coordinators are on the other side, and he was just kind of standing there. And I almost, it just struck me. I was like, it's odd. He's just kind of lone wolfing it out there, and not what I expected. So just an observation from the game.
Let me ask you this. Skaz brought it up. Do you think he was told he's going to play or not play that day?
I honestly don't know. Even if you're told you're not going to play, don't you still want to kind of, be on that mix and have that experience as your first time on the sideline, in an NFL game, presumably when you will be playing at some point?
Dude, on the third down plays and the fourth down plays, I want to be in there so you can know what to do. What's the play calls? Hey, what are you going to be the checks at the line? Listen, I don't want to fault him for something that maybe he wasn't doing. I just you thought it was interesting too.
I thought it was interesting when I saw it. And last thing quickly is just, Brissett, a lot of, I know mixed bag, whatever, but one thing he has, the reason he's in that job, he's got the experience. Don't you, again, to your point, don't you want to be in there hearing that, here's what I saw, here's what you got to do. So anyway, great show.
Hey, how was the Bengals? Were the fans real upset?
So, it's really funny. Like it was, the place was insane. I've never been there. It's totally different vibe than Foxborough. I actually thought it was a pretty good scene. And I also totally felt like they were bummed. You could hear a pin drop in that place for a lot of the second half, but afterwards, I didn't feel like I was going to get like a bottle smashed over my head, like, with the Ravens or Eagles or something like that. So they were just bummed, which I loved. Thrived off it.
All right, John, appreciate it. Anybody else at the game or saw Drake May? I didn't want to do this. Now I feel like I got to write an article about it. And I'm not trying to be an agenda guy with what was Drake? Blah, 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 blah. No, I just am curious what his role is. And the callers were certainly curious after the game. Take one more before the break. Benny, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Kind of agree with Scott. Maybe he was just told he wasn't going to play. Maybe they wanted him to see everything live. I'm with everybody else, too. I would like to see him meeting with everybody, getting the experience that way. But maybe they just wanted to hear the play call, watch it live, watch him dissect it from the sideline. I am going to go back and rewatch, to kind of pay attention to it, too, to have it on YouTube TV.
Yeah, give that a look. Give that a look and call. Let us know. Because
I'm gonna have to
listen, I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just I can't remember a quarterback here that didn't have his helmet on, ready to go as a backup.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But it's a new regime. It's a new regime. Maybe that's the vibe.
And we talked about Ramondre performing so well. Do you think he was happy to know that he's the number one option again? Like, didn't have Zeke behind him.
Yeah, but you know what though?
He
actually asked this year to have a little bit of a split role.
Did he?
Yeah, I read some story this week that they kind of want to go with him and somebody else. I don't think they want that third back in there, So I think he wants to be the third down back.
Can I throw something crazy out there too, real quick? Actually, for Seattle, I do agree with the play action, but watching Monday Night Football last night and how the Jets performed coaching, say they lose to the Titans, and how they play us that Thursday night, lose to us. Now they're 0-3.
Fired.
Did you see how crazy the scenario would it be if they fire Saleh that Friday?
I would do it.
Little Belichick.
Oh man,
how crazy would that be? I just wanted to throw that out there. See how you felt about that.
Benny, the phone lines will be loaded. They're already loaded. They're already loaded. How about that? Good call, man. Thank you. Oh, jeez. The Jets. Well, the Jets played last night, and we didn't get to hear a lot of this Bill Belichick stuff last night, guys. So let's do that on the other side. We'll hear from Bill Belichick last night. I heard it was somewhat of a train wreck. So we'll hear some of the audio last night of the Manning cast. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
winning today.
On the Sports Hub.
Make fun of Eli, right? Does that work for you?
No, not at all. I'm not making fun of Eli. I'm not throwing any stones at him because he'll toss some boulders back at me. Eli, can we have a peace treaty?
Peace, Coach. We got total peace. You know, hey, I got all the respect for you right there, Coach. I'm not saying anything. Nothing mean. All my jokes are going at Peyton.
All right, I'm good on that.
3rd and 2, right there. Purdy just missed him. Had a chance.
3rd and 2, throwing the ball 25 yards downfield, Peyton.
Bill, that's one of your guys you talked
that's
about,
one
right?
Of the big three you got to get.
Hey, you liking all these punts?
The Manning cast. I kind of wish we got a chance to hear it live. Cringe, though, huh? The whole Eli truce. I bet you Belichick hates Eli. I bet you he respects Peyton, though, because I think Peyton's a student of the game, you know? So it's kind of like a battle, you know? But Eli, it's like, that guy sucks, you know?
I almost feel like Belichick should look at Peyton, like, almost disappointingly. Like I owned you.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't beat me, and you're this cerebral, you know, the most thinking man's quarterback of all time. Like, and I owned you, basically.
They
and
got
then
him
Eli's like, oh, shucks, and I'll beat you twice in the Super Bowl. I almost think, I think the worst part of the Manning cast for me is that I like Eli. That I think he's, pretty good.
Yeah, dude, and listen, it's funny you say that because I have always thought highly of Eli Manning. Do I look back at Eli and say 2-time Super Bowl champion? I don't.
You should.
But I have to. No, you have to. The 2 times, I mean, I think he's gone to the playoffs 2 or 3 times. I actually have to look it up. But the time, whenever they actually went on a run, they won the Super Bowl. Do I think Eli was a bigger part of it? Probably. He was. Their defense rallied around him. He was a number 1 overall pick, great player out of college, had all the, the lineage, you name it. But it's funny when Tom Brady was at Fanatics Fest.
Oh, the Eli jersey? I did see that.
But that's good. That's cool. Like Bill just went truce. Brady goes F you. It's good.
If anything, Brady, the Eli Brady thing is what it is. Belichick, it's more of a stain on Belichick, right? Brady's not competing against Eli. Those Giants defenses were awesome.
Yeah. Huh. But I'll say that I didn't get to listen. I heard some things. The talking over each other was bad. We don't have to play that because, unfortunately, I do have to bring this up because we live this life. But when COVID happened, it's hard to do shows. Dude,
some remote broadcast. You're saying there could be technical difficulties?
Yes, guys, I am. Maybe I don't hear you out of one of my ears. It's just things happen. Could be Game 7 and Joe's got to come back from break and I'm one ear on, one ear off. It happens.
Yeah, especially when the host and a guest or the two, whatever it is, are in different places. That's especially difficult. They're trying to get Belichick in there and figure it out. And I'm sure Belichick's, really on top of, making sure he's in there and everything.
Yeah, if I was ESPN, I would call Oakers Technologies or some other high platform that has it so there's no interruptions, because some places pay to do these remote broadcasts so they don't talk over each other. They have that little thing there. So, ESPN should call someone like that, just get that thing right.
I would like to see Bill and Peyton and Eli in the same room for one of these. If Belichick's going to be on every Monday, don't you think he should at least once during the year be there in person? Yeah. Get them all together for one, no audio issues. No truces. Let's get the boys in a room.
Hey, you're spending big money. Dude, listen to me. They've sent people here just to do things, so I'm sure ESPN has it in their budget. I know they've let a lot of people go this year. I think they have it in their budget to get that done. Can we just hear one more? Is there anything else worth playing, or is it just...
Would you like to hear some Bill Belichick third down analysis?
Let's do it.
Hey, Bill, so if you're the 49ers, do you try to disguise here when Aaron's in the no huddle so he doesn't know what defense that you're in?
Absolutely. I would try to make everything look the same as much as possible. You're not going to fool this guy. That's right on it.
First down. Nice play.
Wilson. Get on
Can we
him.
double him? Can we get a double? You got to double him down
converted
here,
3
right?
third
Red
downs.
zone.
Yeah.
Why am I thinking Castaway? That's not going through your head right now?
No, I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Wilson! I don't know why I'm thinking that. I can't, don't even have a take. I just have Wilson on the mind. I feel like that would be a nice little thing to have in here, Skaz. Just get a ball, put some blood on it. Here you go. Just leave it right in studio. It'll be a nice little backdrop. All right. Top of the hour coming. We'll get you what's going on over at Fenway. I think the Red Sox are like kind of still in it. Or are they? We'll get into that throughout the hour. We will talk with Evan Lazar coming up in just a little bit. And I was going to give you some betting notes, but Christian Gonzalez has got himself a big week. We'll highlight him versus DK Metcalf coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, the Patriots.
Into the end zone!
Here.
Touchdown for the Patriots!
WBC FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Patriots preparing for the Seattle Seahawks this Sunday. They were off today. They'll be back at practice tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a injury report. See who's out. We do know that George Fant, the left tackle, he left the game. I don't know his status. Kenneth Walker also got hurt in the game, but he says he's okay. Bunch of stuff going on in the NFL regarding Deshaun Watson, Tyreek Hill, Adrian Peterson. It's just now not good, and it's got nothing to do with what's happening on the field. And the Red Sox are in action right now. They trail 3-0, but they let Cutter Crawford pitch. And what did he do? 3 innings, 3 earned, 2 home runs, 2 strikeouts. It's just, it's what he does. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Next update soon.
Get
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5, the Sports Hub app. Get the app.
Right back there, 98.5 the Sports Hub. I'm reading our chat. You guys can certainly join. I see 83 people in there right now, so thank you. And again, this is how I do it. I grab the remote, I hit the speaker, and I say 98.5 the Sports Hub YouTube. Boom! Pops right up. So you can join in as well. I see people in the chat. Ryan's in there. He's always in there. Tom G, 420 Fishing. J Buck, what's up? J Buck says, so if he was told he wasn't going in or not to hold the helmet, was number 3 ready? Well, I think Joe Milton was the emergency, right? So I think they would have had to designate him as the 3rd, which they did not do. Helmet as long as it's within 4 feet. All right. Sure. Christian Gonzalez had a really good week last week. I want to give Andrew Callahan some credit for this from the Herald. So I was talking about yesterday that the Patriots kind of had this 3-3-5 defense where they played an extra safety. It was Hawkins covering the tight ends, but they played this cover 2 deep zone where they let Christian Gonzalez roam around and follow Jamar Chase. So just think about this defense. They have a typical cover 2, but 3 safeties on the field, but they let their corner just follow the top guy everywhere while the deep safety or free safety covers the tight end. So not to give all X's and Joes on you right now, but the fact that they run that type of, that's a really beautifully designed defense. And it's a disguise to kind of stop the run It's a too deep zone. I actually saw Phil Perry and Ted Johnson breaking this down on the Duggar play. They had a pretty exotic defense, I got to tell you. What they drew up for Joe Burrow, Burrow should have ran more. He didn't. But the reasons why they should have ran more is because of Christian Gonzalez. Now, I know Jamar Chase got open sometimes, and there were one-on-ones, which he's clearly an elite player. Not one throw was to pass the sticks for him. Not one. So Gonzalez could have played off him if he wanted. They were playing run anyways, and they had help over the top. But it was a disguised heavy plan. I'm curious if they're going to do something like that this week with DK Metcalf. If I'm Gerard Mayo, he's probably going to come up with something different. He does it every week, right? I still think the number one priority should be stopping Kenneth Walker and watching Geno Smith. I would put a man on Geno this week. I don't know who that would be. Could it be Hawkins? I don't know. Duggar? Maybe. Could they maybe put a linebacker on? And I don't know who that would be. It used to be Mac Wilson. So I don't know who that linebacker is now. Tavai's been great on the outside. Maybe they go zone. I don't know. It's just I do think that they've had some pretty exotic looks, and it's all because of who Christian Gonzalez is. So this week, Tyler Lockett's a hell of a player. He really gets open because of who's around him, but he's always gotten open, right? I keep talking about DK Metcalf, but Skaz, you know Jackson Smith and Jigba. Number one pick last year. Stud out of Ohio State. Had a great year. Metcalf on one side and Jigba on the other. And Tyler Lockett in the slot. Now, Noah Fant can do some things. They had Pharaoh Brown. I actually think he got hurt. And they drafted A.J. Barner in the fourth round this year. They have playmakers. And, Jake Bobo's another guy. Maybe you've heard of him. Laviska Shenault is their fourth receiver. The Patriots secondary is going to be tested this week. Marco Wilson is the fourth corner for the Patriots. Who? The guy that had the pass interference last week. If they go four wide, what do the Patriots do? Do they stay in that defense? Do they add another corner to the mix? Are they now going to have a safety locked up on, JSN? Is that what they're going to do? I think it's a really tough test. But one key to the Patriots' success last week was Jonathan Jones and Marcus Jones. They were both excellent. And T. Higgins was out. They were very important in last week's game. Jonathan Jones had that big hit. Marcus Jones was there for the turnover. I think they're a little thin after that, and I think Seattle's going to test him. I think Seattle's going to test him this week. And I think Seattle's got a really, really good wide receiving core. Speed all over the field. I mentioned Kenneth Walker as well. I think it's going to be a challenge for the Pats this week. So, early look for me. I think the defense gets challenged after being pretty good last week. As far as receiving last week, Lockett had 6 for 77. Charbonnet had a couple of catches out of the backfield. Metcalf had 3 for 29, and JSN had 2 for 19. Noah Fant had 2. So 18 guys caught, 18 different, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different receivers caught balls last week for 171 yards and a touchdown. The longest, though, was 30. Can they keep Geno Smith in the pocket and not have any deep balls? Yeah, I believe that. But I think Jonathan Jones is going to be tested this week. Marcus Jones, certainly, if it's going to be Tyler Lockett. What if they put Laviska Shenault on the field and have 4 wide? What is your lineup? Is Hawkins a guy who can do that? Does Duggar go over there? Do you play Marco Wilson? I think the Patriots are a little thin at corner. I think they're a little thin, and they're going to get attacked this week. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. But I absolutely think Christian Gonzalez will go DK Metcalf number 1. I think it's going to be him, Metcalf. I think they're going to challenge Gonzalez. It's everyone else I'm worried about. Lockett's going to run all over the field. If you double Metcalf, the other guys are open. Noah Fant over the middle. Is there a tight end that can cover? They're going to put Hawkins again. The number one priority should be stopping Kenneth Walker. I'm interested to see what Seattle does. I think they're a tough matchup for the Pats. I think they're a really tough matchup. We'll talk with Evan Lazar, works for the Patriots.com. We'll ask him about some of these matchups, get his thoughts on last week's performance. And the Pats don't only just have this game on Sunday. They have a quick turnaround against the Jets on Thursday night, who lost last night. We'll see how they're preparing for that. We'll do all that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray.
All right, Banter 98.5, the Sports Hub. Joe Murray. We're here tonight till 11 o'clock, breaking down the Patriots win, but also looking ahead to Seattle. There's some great matchups for Seattle over the years. Of course, there's the Ya Mad Bro, Richard Sherman game. Of course, who could forget Malcolm Butler on the Super Bowl on the goal line? And Cam Newton going for the win on the goal line, and the Patriots run this stupid counter play. But if Tom Brady was under center on the goal line, they just want to run a sneak. But whatever. We won't do that tonight. Instead, we'll go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline right now, and we'll welcome in Evan Lazar of Patriots.com. Evan, Patriots are 1-0, my man. Was it exactly what you thought it would be a week ago?
Not exactly, but I did expect them to be competitive in this game. Just a lot of trends with the Bengals and week ones in Cincinnati, and no Jamar Chase for a while. T. Higgins gets ruled out late. It just seemed like the vibes in Cincinnati were a little off, and that opened the door for an upset.
So it was an upset, but there were so many things this week. At least last week, I was discussing was the Bengals struggle to stop the run. Right, tight ends they do have some struggles with, and of course Joe Burrow early on. I didn't know what we would see out of Gerard Mayo, to be honest with you, but I saw a team that was in shape, that tackled very well, that wanted to play for their coach. And in the end, Evan, I actually thought Gerard Mayo outcoached Zach Taylor.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Honestly, Joe, every time I watch this Bengals team, Patriots played them a couple years ago in 2022. I just haven't been overly impressed with Zach Taylor in terms of his offensive acumen and his scheming. That's his side of the ball. That's his specialty. And it just seems to me like they play a lot of shotgun, 3-receiver, spread the field out, and let Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins go to work. And it's like, well, if that's all you're going to do, then that's relatively easy to defend if you can just stay with those guys. And I know that's easier said than done, but when you have Chase coming off the hold in and playing with an illness, and then you have Higgins in the lineup and not active, it makes things a lot easier. So I've never been overly impressed with Zach Taylor as a schemer, as a play designer. I just don't think they do much creatively to get that offense going other than what the players allow them to do. So I thought DeMarcus Covington and Gerard Mayo really flustered Joe Burrow in this game. I mean, by the end of the game, he's kind of seeing ghosts out there and checking the ball down quickly and not really scanning the field or looking down the field to throw the ball. And I thought that they got to him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just to get into that a little bit, and I'm curious how they match up with Seattle this week, but I wanted to talk about that exotic defense. I at least thought it was just your typical 3-3-5, but it is a cover two where Hawkins is covering the tight end, but they let Gonzalez cover Jamar Chase man-to-man and let him kind of follow him around. What do they do this week now with DK Metcalf? Tyler Lockett obviously in the slot, Jackson Smith and Jigba as well. Laviska Shenault, they got a crew. Jake Bobo's another guy. They got some receivers. Fant, do you think they have that type of cover too, where they want them or dare them to run the ball? Because Kenneth Walker was great last week. He says he's okay, but I know he's dealing with something. Do you see a similar type defense against the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, it's a good question. And just league-wide in week one, we're seeing a resurgence of the run game. I think I saw a stat that said going into Monday Night Football, the league was averaging 180 yards per game on the ground. So big numbers in the run game. But to me, what that really is about is these defenses playing a lot of these two deep zones to deal with these passing attacks. You go into a game against Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, what would you rather the Bengals do? Throw it 40 times or hand the ball off, right? So you play these two high safety shells. You play a lot of cover two in that game if you're New England, and you force Joe Burrow to either check it down or turn around and hand the ball off to Zach Moss. I think it's similar in this game against Seattle. They ran the ball well against Denver last week, but the Broncos were able to slow down their passing attack too with Geno Smith. And you just go in there and you play a lot of those softer zones on early downs, and you man up on third down, and you hope that they hand the ball off and shorten the game for you. And that's how, for a team like the Patriots that doesn't score a whole lot offensively, if you want to shorten the game for us and, make it one of those types of ball games, if I'm Gerard Mayo and DeMarcus Covington, I'm saying go right ahead. Go right ahead and run the ball 35 times. We'll see at the end of the game if it's 17-16. That's fine with us. So that's where a lot of the league is trending right now, I would say, which is the things that are doing defensively. A lot of those too high safeties, a lot of rotating on the back end, a lot of zone coverage league-wide, and teams are countering by running the ball, but it's also, has its other influences like scoring being down and things like that.
All right, we're talking with Evan Lazar. He's of Patriots.com. Does an excellent job. Podcast, you name it, he's all over it. I actually liked your write-up last week on the Bengals because I thought it was dead on, and it played out that way. And I do want to look ahead a little bit here. The Patriots in Seattle are very similar in ways. New head coach, right? Defensive philosophies, got a running game, kind of quarterbacks that are, Brissett's the journeyman, but Geno Smith was a Pro Bowler, and they're a fringe playoff team. Sam Howell's backing him up, Drake May. There's a lot there. There's a little bit more playmakers on Seattle, though. But just talk about Mike McDaniel, him coming over from the Ravens, and what should the Patriots expect this week defensively?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing to me about this matchup with Seattle that scares me is McDonald is a known pressure schemer. Yeah. No, that's okay. He's a known pressure schemer. Like, he's a guy that puts a lot of guys up on the line of scrimmage, makes you sort out post-snap who's coming, who's dropping, that sort of defense. And they really got after Bo Nix last week. I know he was only sacked twice, but the pressure rate was the second highest in the NFL, ironically enough, behind Jacoby Brissett and the New England Patriots. So you look at some of the things that the Bengals were able to do. They got pressure by creating free runners or unblocked pressures to the quarterback 4 times. It was towards the high end of the league in week 1. And I'm a little concerned that McDonald's going to do similar things with those pressure schemes in Seattle. And just for one player, and specifically because I know that roster might not be overly familiar for people on defense, Bowie Mafi, their defensive end, it had 9 quarterback pressures last week against Denver. He went off against the Broncos, and he's kind of like their Keon White, like they're hoping that he's going to break out and have a huge season this year. And he was really productive in week 1, just like Keon was. So I look out for him and just this an overall pressure defense that they run in Seattle now that he's bringing over from Baltimore. It's from that Wink Martindale tree. It's a very similar defense and just very blitz and exotic heavy in the pressure schemes. So I'd be concerned about that. And then offensively, Ryan Grubb is University of Washington's former offensive coordinator last year with the Huskies, and Michael Penix and Jalen Polk, of course, and Rome Odunze and all those guys. And what I saw in week 1 out of him was a lot of shifting in motion pre-snap. You have a lot of those shifts. You have a lot of cheat motions, where they start the receivers into the routes and things like that and into the blocks in the run game. And those can be difficult to deal with and are pretty creative and exotic, I would say, from an offensive standpoint. So I was pretty impressed with their designing of plays on both sides of the ball. And it's going to be a pretty big test for the Patriots because I do think Seattle's a well-stocked personnel team. Too, just talent-wise, and they have some coordinators and young guns that know how to design it pretty well, too.
Well, there's some big names on this defense. I mean, they drafted Byron Murphy, right? Kid from Texas. You mentioned Mafi, Devin Witherspoon, really good defensive back, right? But what I look at is Leonard Williams in the middle and Hankins and Reed and how does the offensive line match up against the defensive line and the pass rushers of Seattle?
Yeah, it's a great point. And Leonard Williams last week, even against Quinn Miners, who just got paid by the Broncos big money at right guard, he had 2 pressures on Miners last week, too. So he's still got it. He's still playing at a really high level. He tends to line up over the right side, so I think Layden Robinson's going to see a lot of Leonard Williams on Sunday, and that's going to be a mismatch. I would say the 2 biggest mismatches on the field in this game are Mafia against Verdarian Lowe and Leonard Williams against Layden Robinson. And those 2 things for the Patriots offense, that those 2 matchups might decide the game on Sunday of whether or not they can move the ball offensively. So it's going to be a test. I feel like this is not a great spot, honestly, for the Patriots. I know some people are going to probably pick them coming off of last week, but just looking at the way that Seattle can pressure the quarterback and what they did to Bo Nix, and what that scheme did last year to everybody around the league in Baltimore, it is scary to look at Jacoby Brissett behind this line with the way that McDonald can scheme it up.
I got one more for you, Evan Lazar, Patriots.com. If the Patriots do have a shot this week, they got to get play action going, right? And Polk, Pop Douglas are the two guys I'm looking at. Will they be able to run play action knowing Gerard Mayo is going to tell them we're going to run? But early on, can they get that play action going to look for some big plays?
It's a great point and something I've been harping on, Joe, because you get 26 yards out of 5 play action dropbacks on Sunday against the Bengals, despite the fact that you ran for 170 yards. Like, you would think that those two things would open each other up, and they just didn't against Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati stayed true to their coverage, and they really didn't allow those things to open up quite as much. But there were some opportunities. There's a check down to Ramondre Stevenson in the second quarter that I felt like the wheel route to Austin Hooper down the field was open, and Jacoby Brissett decided to check it down. So you see that play to Tyquan Thornton, the 17-yarder. That's what this offense needs to look like moving forward if they're going to start to score some points and be productive in the passing game. When you listen to people from this tree, AVP, Stefanski, Green Bay, LaFleur, Shanahan, like those guys will talk about running the football 30, 35 times a game. But the idea is really to set up play action and the explosive passing plays through play action. So if all you're doing is running the ball and you're not getting those play actions, that's how you get to 16 points and not to, into the 20s or even into the low 30s. So that's where those points come from, is those explosives in the passing game. But they got to be better at scheming those up. And then also, I think a little bit, Jacoby's got to be more willing to push the ball down the field too.
All right, I know I said one more, but I got to ask you this one. We do our own post-game show. I know you guys have one over at Patriots.com. But my very own Leroy Irvin was working with me, and he just happened to say, "Hey, did you notice Drake May on the sideline?" I said, "Yeah." He didn't have a helmet on. He had the earpiece on. Just was kind of chilling. Not really involved with any of the game plan. When they had some timeouts, he wasn't really over there. I'm not trying to make anything out of this, Evan. I'm really not. But did you watch him on the sideline, and was that uncharacteristic of a backup quarterback for the Patriots?
Honestly, I didn't. I mean, I was at the game in Cincinnati, so my eyes weren't necessarily there. But I am interested, and we're going to talk to AVP later in the week this week, I think on Thursday. I am interested on what the plan is there with Drake May. Like, how do you keep developing Drake May behind the scenes while Jacoby Brissett is playing? I feel like we all can come to terms with the fact that this decision was made for the right reasons.
And it's right. And it was the right decision, too. I think it's validated. Yeah. It's the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. But they still have to develop it, Drake May, and he's still the most important figure in this franchise right now that needs to be at the forefront of everything in terms of their plans for the future. So what are they doing behind the scenes? What's Drake doing behind the scenes? Is he getting any reps in practice with the ones? Is it all scout team? Is he working on special projects? Is he presenting at game plan meetings? Like, what is it that they have him doing, and maybe even just getting some input from some other teams that have gone this route? Obviously Elliot Wolf has the background with the Packers, but the Chiefs and Mahomes, or whatever the case may be, of how you go about doing this is a really important thing for this organization right now. And I do feel like they have to publicly say that their support is behind Jacoby Brissett, and that's totally fair. But the elephant in the room, I kind of feel like every time we talk to these coaches is like, okay, but what's going on with Drake? And hopefully we get some answers on that on Thursday.
I just want to know what his on game day is. He the backup? Should he be wearing a helmet when Brissett took that big hit? Was he throwing a football? Because he wasn't. Was he told he's not going to play and was just chilling? Like, it's your first day of work. You're just going to train and kind of hang out. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I just remember Garoppolo wearing a helmet and Zappe and everybody else. It was odd to me, Evan. So I don't know. Over the years, do you remember like Brian Hoyer being there and other guys? Even Stidham was there with Cam Newton.
Yeah, I think it's different for veteran backups like Brian Hoyer. Because like Hoyer, I remember him sitting on the bench with the Josh McDaniels, whoever it was, and going over the stills and things like that and the plays for the next series with Brady, with Mac, or whatever. But that's because Brian Hoyer was like a de facto assistant quarterback coach at that point of his career, right? So it's a little bit different with Drake. Like, I don't know what Drake May is really going to tell Jacoby Brissett on the sideline in a game like that. I did like that he had the earpiece in. That means that he's probably going through mental reps and things as they're relaying the plays into Jacoby Brissett, and he's going through, okay, this is what the defense is in, and this is what I would do, this is what Jacoby did, like that sort of thing, and that can be helpful. But it's a fascinating question how they sort of split the atom here of allowing Jacoby Brissett to go out there and flourish and win games for them, hopefully, but also realizing the bigger picture is Drake May.
And please, I'm not trying to bring up a discourse or something like he did anything wrong. I just, the number, maybe you guys got it too. The number one thing people asked in postgame was Drake May. Like, they just won 16-10 on an upset. But everybody was asking about May, and I don't know. I saw him on the sideline there with a headset in, and I don't know. There's a new vibe over there, Evan. So I feel like they'll be transparent if you ask the question.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting because I can't help it myself because I'm a big Drake May guy, Joe, and you know that. And I can't help it myself when I watch this film back on Monday where, like, the runs that Jacoby Brissett made in this game were really good. 3 runs for first downs and big plays in the game. But you also realize that Jacoby Brissett is nowhere near as fast in the open field as Drake May is, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, if that's Drake May, I mean, I don't know if he has the same poise and all that kind of stuff to get out of the pocket, but he's a really athletic dude. And then you also see some of these tight window throws down the field that Jacoby passed on, and you just wonder if that's Drake in there, like, does he fit that ball in there? Does he make that throw? Is he more aggressive in this situation? Now, maybe that leads to more turnovers, and that might be bad, but it also might be good because it might unlock some things in this passing offense that they don't get with Brissett. So we're all doing it, right? Like, everybody's looking at it and saying, would this be better or worse with Drake May right now?
Yeah, and I know I keep saying one last question, but Marco Wilson, is he really the answer after Marcus Jones?
Yeah, their cornerback depth is definitely a question mark. I was hoping to see a little bit more out of Alex Austin in the summer. I thought that he had a really good end of the year last year with them, and he was going to build on that, and he was pretty good in the spring, and then they got the pads on in training camp, and it hasn't necessarily been the same. So they got to keep those 2 Joneses healthy. Like, that's in Christian Gonzalez too. Like, all 3 of those guys have to stay healthy on the back end if they're going to be a really good defense, because that's how they're going to build this thing now. It's going to be from the back to the front versus the front to the back. Like, they're going to have to count on Peppers, Duggar, Gonzalez, the Joneses, Jalen Hawkins. Like, those guys are going to have to cover like they did on Sunday, because they're not going to have the Barmores and the Judons and those players to win up front. So I'm fascinated to see how that works out. I hope that as the course of the season goes along here, they're going to be a little bit more aggressive even in the pass rush and maybe blitz a little bit more once they start to really trust the secondary. But those 5 guys need to stay healthy.
All right, guys, he's Evan Lazar. Great job, as always, senior reporter and host of the Patriots Catch-22 podcast at Patriots.com. Evan, great job as usual, and we'll be looking forward to your breakdowns this weekend against Seattle.
Sounds good, Joe. Thanks for having me.
All right, and your phone sounded great, just so you know.
Oh, great.
Awesome. Excellent phone, Evan. I got to tell you that. Always an excellent phone, and hopefully we can get you on our video at some point soon. He's Evan Lazar, everybody. I'm Joe Murray. We'll take a quick break here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, well, the Red Sox are in action right now. They're still battling for a playoff spot, but they trail 3-1 right now in the 5th inning. Cutter Crawford got the start. He gave up 2 home runs, but Tristan Casas has an RBI double, and he's continuing to take mental reps. Patriots getting ready for Sunday's game against Seattle. Injury report comes out tomorrow. I do know this. George Fant, the left tackle for the Seattle Seahawks.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Can the Boston Celtics run it back? I'm not trying to give anybody else no bulletin board material.
Right.
But what do you think?
Well, first, it was extremely tough to win the championship, right? And I was super proud of, what we were able to accomplish. To come into the next season and just say we're going to do it again would be like insensitive. I think that a lot has to go right. And our mindset is not, let's win the championship again. Let's start over. Let's get better every single day and not skip any steps. And that's why we were successful last season.
The Boston Celtics are your NBA champions. You know what's funny? Every single day, something's been coming out on the Celtics. There was the Mazzulla quote last week. There was the Lonnie Walker article yesterday at The Athletic. Today, Jason Tatum was on CBS. He has a new children's book. And I believe he wrote this regarding the relationship between him and his son. But he had a big sit-down on CBS today. So a hell of a... I think Mike Gorman had the same one earlier this year, right? Guys, am I wrong on that one? So a couple of things came out of that. But first, the books, guys. Cool. You know what I have to say this? Remember a couple of years ago, like, you'd always see Steph Curry and his kids at the podium? I like that. I liked it. I know some people didn't. Like, I remember Dusty Baker in baseball once his kid was there and JT Snow basically had to like get him out of the batter's box.
He got a hit the other night, Joe.
I can't believe that, by the way.
In Major League Baseball.
That is like full circle right there. I saw that the other night, but I remember that. Like,
that'll be Deuce raising the banner in like 20 years.
All right. In or out's coming up in 5 minutes. But in or out on kids being a part of the athletes.
Yeah, I'm in. I mean, I understand, Big Jim has his problems with the bedtime, I think was a big issue he had. But no, I think it's honestly really great that Jason Tatum is as present as he is, as aware as he is, knows, what it means to be like a father, and he takes that responsibility very seriously. I think it's been awesome as a Celtics fan to see not just Jason Tatum kind of grow up with the Celtics, but you're watching Deuce grow up as well. Like, I know it's a little corny, kid shouldn't be out there on the court, whatever. Like, he's your superstar franchise player. You let him do what he wants regardless. You're lucky that what he wants to do is have his son around. Especially, a day and age where not NFL, NBA, whatever, athletes are more empowered than ever, and they should be. But Jason Tatum is taking that empowerment and he's saying, I want my people around my son. I want him in the locker room. I want him around the guys. I think that's a really cool thing that Jason Tatum does. And, now he's putting out a children's book, and I think the Celtics are unbelievably lucky to have Tatum and Brown as their two cornerstones.
As far as the Deuce Tatum, I think I like it. And when they won the championship and he held his kid up, I know we did the James Earl Jones last night, but it kind of reminded me of the Lion King. I don't know, like holding up, it kind of reminded me of that. But for the most part, I like the kid athlete dynamic. I don't have a problem with it. Deuce is fine, right? We see him sleeping sometimes. He's kind of everywhere. He doesn't bother me. But Tatum doesn't want the Celtics to get ahead of themselves while trying to defend their title. Quote, let's start over. Let's get better and not skip any steps. That's why we were successful last season. And good old Joe Mazzulla, who I believe is going to be in studio with Zoe and Beetle this week. I think I heard that. But Joe Mazzulla explains why the Celtics shouldn't be looking to defend a title this season. This guy's crazy. And it's I'm sorry, but if this guy was the coach, these guys must be scared of him, right? Like, imagine if they're like, Hemi's kind of hurting me today, man. I'm not sure. Like, is he just going to put him in a Hemi lock? But this is what he said. The word defend is a very rare passive-aggressive term. You go back to the animal kingdom. Some of the strongest animals don't defend. They're the most aggressive. And they attack the most. This guy's crazy. Kind of liked it, not going to lie to you. You know why? Because he's your coach. He's the Celtics coach. I don't know another guy in the league that's like this. I really don't. I don't know another guy. Dan Campbell might be someone like this if we're crossing sports. Like, this guy was a college player. He didn't play in the league. But his mindset, it's unlike anyone else's. And he was at Patriots camp. He was at Red Sox. He's with the Red Sox recently. He was with the Bruins for a bit. Like, he's involved with all the teams and all the coaches around here. Caleb Porter, I think, too. But, man, this guy's got just he needs to look at things differently, and that's maybe what makes the Celtics different and maybe why Tatum and Brown both are last year's behind us. Let's move forward. So I thought that quote's wild, Skaz. That's one we might have to bring back later on in the year. The word defend's a very passive-aggressive term. You go back to the animal kingdom. Do we need to do that now? We'll go back to the animal kingdom and we'll look for what's like the strongest animal of the animal kingdom? Dinosaur? Like, who is a part of the animal kingdom now? Do we need to do that?
I don't think dinosaurs are still a part of that.
Well, no. But no, he said go back to the animal kingdom.
Missoula takes me as like a lion, the big lion guy. You want to be the attacker, not the attackee.
Okay. Okay. The animal no, I can't do this right now. We got in a round coming up next. But, man, that guy's a wild animal. Joe Missoula. Certainly not about defending the championship.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of complacency from the Celtics this year.
I don't believe so either. But Media Day, September 24th, everybody. All right, we got in or out. What's it going to be, McFly, next?
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
More Felger and Maz are just his pregame.
They've been getting wholesale deals for years.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed. Sponsorship opportunities are still available. And if you want to get involved with the night show, certainly just, you can email me. I know a guy. Speaking of knowing a guy, we call him Skaz. His name's James. I don't think I've ever called him that.
Very rarely called James around here.
But his last name is Scaramazzino. So, Skaz, what do we got tonight for In or Out?
All right, Joe, we'll start with the world of music tonight. A Tuesday night edition of In or Out. Feels good, full weeks of In or Out back. We're in the full swing of things now, at least for a little while, until Bruins and Celtics get underway. But Beyonce making, I guess not Beyonce, but the CMA, the Country Music Association, making some waves over the weekend. Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album not nominated for a single CMA award. Joe Murray, are you in or out?
I'm out on this. I'm no country fan. You've heard my songs of summer. What was that song? Everybody at the bar get tipsy.
That would be Tipsy by Shabuzi.
Yeah, Shabuzi. There you go. And then the other one was Let It Ride on It Back of the Chevy with the engine running, just you and me. I liked Beyonce's songs. The one with Miley Cyrus was good. We played it. How did she get left off? I'm sorry, but some of your country music sucks. Beyonce's a great one. How was she left off?
Yeah.
But yeah, Post Malone's going to get his, right?
I'm with you on this one.
And if Beyonce is a creative genius.
She's too big to be left off.
She tried something new and it worked. It wasn't like it sucked. Out. And what is country anymore? What is country?
I don't think they know, Joe.
It's no longer the my tractor, my truck, my beer, and my dog. It's no longer that anymore. It's now just, what's going up to the store? No, let me give you another one. Going on, don't I am out on country. It's all pop music now. Sorry, that was bad. Out! Beyonce's too big to be left off. You're right. Out!
All right, Joe, we'll head to the world of finance for this one, a place we don't normally venture on the night show, but one of the big four, PwC, has started to tell employees, mostly in the UK, a headline from New York Post, one of the world's largest consulting firms will spy on employee locations as it forces workers back into the office. So PwC sent an email to workers basically telling them it would be sharing their location data with them on a monthly basis. Joe Murray, this in an effort to get people back into the office. Are we in or out on tracking employee location data?
Oh, man, this is a tough one. You know why? Okay, you and I have both worked in the real world. You work in a construction truck. That thing's got a GPS, right?
Yeah, sometimes they know where you are, yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is a tactic. So I'm in on the tactic.
It's a leverage play.
I'm in on the tactic. But I would like to sign something as an employee before someone has my location. Is that fair enough?
I almost think, and this is, you never know how this goes, but shouldn't it be kind of performance-based? Like, if I can do my job from anywhere, let me do my job from anywhere.
You're right, because I've worked for some great companies before I was full-time here that were remote, and as long as you did your job, they didn't care where you were.
Yeah, judge me by my performance, not where I am.
Damn right, Skaz.
If you can do the job at home, do the job at home.
Damn rights.
See, yeah.
But I feel like it's a tactic. So I'm in on the tactic, but I just... It is interesting now, but when you log in, you'll get the, can we Would you like to share your location or like? I think you're kind of screwed, to be honest with you. All these authentications now and authentications. Out on those, by the way, huh? Every day. You ever notice sometimes I'm like trying to do the show and it's my phone and it's this and then I gotta scan something and then I went out to eat the other night and I had to scan the menu on my phone. Out! I want a menu that looks like a play sheet from a head coach or an offensive coordinator.
Heading to the factory.
Yes. By the way, the Cheesecake Factory, that thing is that thing's like Tom Brady's career of every game, you know?
It's looking like Chip Kelly at Oregon's playbook.
Jeez. What else we got tonight?
All right, Joe. One Ian McKellen, famously Gandalf, I believe, in the Lord of the Rings movies.
I love Gandalf. Gandalf the White, Gandalf the Gray.
Well, he said I probably shouldn't be saying this, but the plan is to make 2 new Lord of the Rings films. Joe Murray, are we in or out on 2 more Lord of the Rings films?
Whew, man, Christmas Day, going to see Lord of the Rings, that was a thing. Huh. Well, would it be like okay, can I be honest with you? I didn't love The Hobbit. Was there a Hobbit 2 as well?
That I don't know, but I think that was a common sentiment. I don't think
The Hobbit didn't suck.
Yeah, I think it was just okay.
The King was like, that was awesome. Plus, like, the love interest of Liv Tyler and just, like, you know, all the elves and they don't die. And it was great. Is that what we're going with it? Are we going off a continuation of that?
I'd have to
imagine. Is Viggo Mortensen going to be in it? If he's in it, I'm in.
If Viggo's in, Joe's in.
I love Viggo. Not Ghostbusters Viggo. Viggo. You know, the big painting? That thing scared the hell out of me, Skaz. Like, imagine being like 8 years old and it's like this purple goo. And then this photo that would look at you. And this crazy guy that's like, Viggo. That movie was not for kids, by the way. And then all of a sudden, it gets moving when you hear music. So let's get the Statue of Liberty going. Let's go. Why do they always have to get the biggest thing? They had to get Stay Puffed. Then they gotta get a damn Statue of Liberty. I don't even remember what Ghostbusters 3 was. Don't know why that set me off. But like Ghostbusters, they go big or go home. Viggo. And the baby. All right, what else we got?
All right, Joe, as we often do on the Joe Murray Show, we head to food for this one. Kroger announced they are collaborating with Doritos to release the Flamin' Hot Limon Shrimp Tempura Sushi Roll. There's a lot going on here.
Oh, no.
A lot going on here.
No.
But it looks like a sushi roll that is almost like wrapped with Flamin' Hot Limon Doritos. I can't. I'm looking at it too.
Okay.
And
so it's literally just It's a Dorito that is like the like lemon,
almost like the crust, the wrap of the sushi.
But then they're gonna make it a sushi roll taste. Come on! Ow! Who wants this?
It's a little too much going on.
Can you say it one more time? What is it?
Yeah, Joe, it is Kroger's is teaming up with Doritos to release the Flamin' Hot Limon Shrimp Tempura Sushi Roll.
I like shrimp tempura.
Do you like Flamin' Hot Limon Doritos?
No, I mean, I actually do like a Flaming Hot Dorito.
Yeah, it sounds like Joe Murray might be.
No, I'm out. If it's sushi, I'm out. Is there going to be seaweed in it? Is there lettuce? Is it wrapped in something that isn't rice? I'm out. Out.
Yeah, this is a hard out for me.
How about just Flaming Hot Dorito Shrimp Tempura? So I get a hot with a little shrimp. Little hot, little fish. Fishy hot. Hot fishy. Not sushi. Chips and sushi. Out. Anyways.
All right, Joe, head to the world of technology for this one. AirPods 4 were announced yesterday, and one of the biggest features that Apple has been promoting is that when you're wearing the AirPod 4s and you get an incoming call, you can either shake your head no or nod your head yes to answer or reject the calls. Joe,
I don't put AirPods in my ear to speak on telephone. Do you?
No, I use them to mow the lawn and
Yes.
like, work out. That's basically it.
So I'm out. But here's the deal. Back in the day, we used to have the old butt dial, right? Now you kind of like a lock screen on your phone. Now we're going to depend on something we put in our ear to dictate if we're saying yes or no. Out. I don't want a device dictating my feelings. Am I wrong on that?
I'm out on it. Just, it's how hard is it to pull your phone out?
How does a device know how I feel? Think about it, Skaz. You're having a bad day. Is it going to be in your ear like, oh, cheer up, little Skazzy?
Out on that.
Out! It's out! You gotta get the new AirPod 4. You can answer by nodding. The next Apple big breakthrough. No. Take your out of the sports hub.
I saw that in the system as well when I got here.
I know I've been there. Where you've had to be like, Joe, you did it. And I go, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Pull the tape.
And then you pull the tape, and I go, oh, I really did it? Again, it's as long as you dump it, we're good. And I will yell, dump it, dump it, dump it, dump it, dump it, dump it, dump it. You know who taught me that? Gary Tanguay.
I thought you were going to say Maz after his Phil Mickelson.
Nope. A lot of mentors here have taught me a lot. I learned to do what they shouldn't have. It's like Troop, with James Earl Jones. Just 15 years later, it happened, though. All right, anything else?
Joe, why not? We'll wrap up with this one tonight. Maybe a little bit of I don't know if I'd call it controversy, but some ruffling of some feathers in a local radio program in Chicago seemed to set some people off in the media world. So, Joe Murray, I have to ask, are you in or out on being called by your last name?
Now, let's set this up for a second. Barstool Sports, which really you're not going to win. I'm just going to tell you right now that if Barstool posted something and was like, Joe Murray's a big fat idiot, I'm going to laugh and I'm going to just say, thanks, guys. I'm not going to fight back. I'm not going to chirp.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
I'm just going to say, Dave, Volo, and Swampscott, your hometown, best pizza. Because I'm not going to win that battle. I'm not. I will bend the knee. I'll bend the knee. So what happened was they had a guy who was part of Chicago radio, but who works for Barstool.
Yes, Eddie Barstool.
Eddie Barstool.
Basically the nicest guy at the company, I think.
And he used to do, I think, afternoons in Chicago. And
I think he worked with Stern at one point. So he's like a radio guy.
Yep. And that 670 station, well, I'm trying to think of like a long-term employee.
It's almost like Mr. Burns.
Yeah, but who's been here since forever? That's just
Johnny Wallach.
Wallach. There you go. Because it's the only one I can give. And I will say this: Wallach is nowhere near what this guy did. And Wallach's gonna. You say something about Wallach, he's gonna have fun with it. Right?
You're calling him Wallach, which is already a step above this guy.
But Eddie Barstool basically just said in passing, haha, I don't know, you feel like that, Bernstein? It wasn't even rude.
The show was called Bernstein and Holmes, I believe. And the gentleman was very, very upset.
So Mr. Bernstein goes, you don't know me like that. You either call me Bernie or...
It was like Bernsey or Dan.
Yeah.
Which Bernsey it comes off as way more disrespectful than just calling him by the name on the show.
So I'm just curious, do we work with anybody that we can't call them by their last name?
I would say now.
Do we don't? If we called Hardy Poole, that'd be a dick.
Yeah,
dick move.
Yeah.
Because he's Hardy.
He's Hardy.
But that would be a move. Bad move. This guy was mad that someone he used to work with who knows him called him by his last name. And now Barstool's ready to take him down.
Yeah, the dogs have been unleashed.
And I will say this. One of my very dear longtime radio partners is like a narc when it comes to radio things. I don't understand it, but that's his shtick.
It's content,
and he's
baby.
my guy.
It's content.
So if he does it, he's great at creating content, right? That's what we do here. So I support him. Just don't do it to me, thank you. But yes, Bernstein, you are an idiot. Hey, Scaramazino! Imagine you getting pissed that someone called you Scaramazino.
Yeah, don't call me my actual name.
So I'll tell you this, I hate Joseph. If you call me Joseph, I'm out.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone call you Joseph.
If anyone, don't. No, and if you do, I'm going to hang up on you. But I'm not a Joseph. Yeah, it's my name.
I'm not a Jimmy. Never have been. Not a Jim.
You are not a Jimmy.
Just never have been.
We have plenty other Jimmys here. We have a Jim. We have a Jimmy. We have another Jim or Louth. Right? We have 2 Murrays. So, I mean, geez. Murray, which one is it? We've been doing this for 15 years. Bernstein.
But if someone called me Jimmy, I wouldn't
You wouldn't
care.
even know.
Yeah, I wouldn't freak out.
No, you
I've been
wouldn't
called
freak out.
Jimmy plenty of times.
I did have someone not like it when I called him Buddy once, though.
I can think of one incident where someone, no names, but yeah, they didn't love what they were called on the air, and I believe
last name
in or out being called Murray.
Fine.
Yeah.
Like Bernstein. All right, we got to go to break. We got Brian Barrett coming up with a ringer. Let's get you the Red Sox score right now.
WBC FM and HD Boston. Patriots! It's an all-new season for the Patriots.
Wow.
And you'll hear it all right here.
Yes.
Your home of the past. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Red Sox trail 5-1 right now. Tristan Casas, an RBI double. Cutter Crawford got the start, and he gave up 2 home runs. And the Patriots getting ready for Seattle this weekend. Injury report comes out tomorrow. Headlines brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Next update soon.
Listen to it. Laugh at it. Get mad at it. Agree with it. Argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
All right, well, I thought we would have a little something on the Red Sox tonight. You know, they are doing a little something. And I figured we'd have Brian Barrett on to, well, tell us the chances. Well, they're not looking good right now at 5-1. But we'll still talk a little bit of Red Sox. We'll do that coming up here on the other side, and we'll get the breakdown from Brian Barrett, who now has a popular guest on his podcast weekly, a former New England Patriot. We'll tell you who that is coming up after the break here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. That was an interesting in or out. Actually was pleasant. Not going to lie to you. I got the Red Sox game on. 5-1 right now, Baltimore. Our next guest is Brian Barrett, joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. He is from The Ringer. And Brian, I was hoping that we'd have you on and maybe the Sox would be, up and we might want to talk about a playoff run, but we know the Fangraphs percentages. What are your percentages of the Sox making a little bit of a run here to the playoffs?
Pretty low, Joe. I just look at it from this perspective. The Red Sox had their chance already to make the postseason, and of course, as you mentioned, they're losing right now. Cutter Crawford gave up 2 home runs. I don't think he pitched poorly, but Cutter Crawford has now given up the most home runs in Major League Baseball. But I really felt like they had an opportunity in the beginning of last month, right? I mean, you look at a stretch from essentially the 7th of August through the 4th of September, they went 9-18. During that same stretch, Minnesota went 12-15. And Minnesota's playing poorly right now, too, although they have an easy series coming up here. And Kansas City only went 13-13. So that was the stretch for the Red Sox to make their move. And they played worse than everybody but the Chicago White Sox in all of Major League Baseball when they had that stretch. Now, unfortunately, Rafael Devers during that stretch, and he had a nice game on Monday night, and he had a hit earlier in this one, but Rafael Devers is banged up, 99 plate appearances during that stretch. He had 178, 164th of 172 qualifiers. And I understand that he was dealing with an injury, but the pitching has been an issue off and on all season long. That stretch that I referenced, that 9-18 stretch, they hit 228, which was 28th or 25th in Major League Baseball, and their strikeout rate was 27.1%, which was 28th in Major League Baseball. So they really, at this particular point in time, it's amazing that we woke up this morning and they were only 3 games back, and it just feels like every opportunity they have to take advantage of the situation, they're just unable to do it. And it comes back to this whole idea that the Red Sox over the past couple of years have been one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball from a defensive perspective. They've been at the bottom third of Major League Baseball as it pertains to pitching, and it's not going to get fixed here until they address those things this upcoming offseason. I mean, I even think back to what Breslow did this offseason. Teoscar Hernandez wants to be here. Okay, this team sometimes struggles against good left-handed pitching. Well, Teoscar Hernandez is 5th in Major League Baseball last check slugging against left-handed pitching, and he's at, approaching 30 home runs at this particular point in time, but the Red Sox don't get a deal done with him. And then you look at the rotation. I understand the idea of Giolito. He's an innings eater, if nothing else, and they essentially, unfortunately, he gets injured. And you look at the fact that I know they had Rich Hill here, but that was an embarrassing situation where they're celebrating the fact that they signed a 44-year-old. And then the last thing I would mention is I totally understand that Chris Sale probably isn't the Chris Sale if he's still here, but you traded him at his nadir, and you got Vaughn Grissom, and Vaughn Grissom may never be the starting second baseman for the Red Sox because they got Campbell on the way up, who's an absolute stud. So this thing was basically done from the beginning of the season, and still with all that, they had a chance, and they can't find a way to make things work because they're terrible in 2 very important aspects of the game, defense and pitching.
Yep, Twins are leading tonight. Tigers just won. Royals up 5-0. This is a... might be the last time we talk about them. Just one last thing. I have this weird fascination with Tyler O'Neill. He's like this guy that, obviously I call him Pipes, but he does good things and then will do something to just erase it. Just was curious your thoughts on just his season overall, and do you think he's someone that could come back next year?
Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, I got to give the guy credit. He's got, 29 bombs on the season. He's done an outstanding job against left-handed pitching. The problem with him is just the ups and downs. He strikes out so much, in particular at home. His strikeout rate is north of 35% at home. That's the one thing you could look at is the strikeouts. I don't know. I mean, you start to think about what this team is going to look like next season, and you start to factor in, well, is Teal going to be up? When are we going to see Roman Anthony come up? And then, of course, you start to think about when is Campbell going to be with the team. You're going to have Story back playing shortstop every day. I know he's got tonight off, but I would imagine he's not going to be back next season just because of all the guys they have coming up in the farm system. So if If you asked me to guess, I would say no. But he hasn't been a bad pickup. I would just have preferred to have Teoscar Hernandez, who's been a preferred hitter, who's been a proven hitter, I should say, in this division. I mean, he's not a bad player. I just don't see him coming back because of the inconsistencies with the strikeouts.
All right, talking to Brian Barrett. He's of The Ringer. He's the Off the Pike podcast. I believe you have a former New England Patriot as a weekly guest now?
Yeah, we get James White back again, third season. We get James after each and every game. It was pretty cool last week, too, because he called the game on radio, and then he joined us right from the airport. He got a little bit of a delayed flight, but I'll tell you this, he was very pleased with the way that things went for the Patriots on Sunday. I think if you were going to draw up sort of the perfect way that the Patriots could win a game, we saw it, right? I mean, they dominated time of possession. I thought the defense was awesome, and that was one of my questions coming in is, hey, are they going to be able to game plan as well as they did defensively? Because we know things went south offensively for Belichick and company, but they always had good defensive game plans last year, and I thought it was awesome. They had Burrow completely fooled, where if you look at it, they didn't even really get to Burrow in terms of the pressure percentage. It was the fourth lowest last week in the entire NFL, but they had him fooled, where they had Christian Gonzalez drop him back into coverage. He thought it was man, that it was zone. I don't want to get into the X's and O's too much, Joe, but I thought they did a really good job from a defensive perspective. It'll be different this week, of course. I'm interested to see what the pass rush looks like, but Seattle offensive line, quite frankly, is their weakest part of the team. I mean, they gave up 2 safeties last week, and it could have been
in fact
3. I mean, yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like Keon White, Keon was huge. And I think he could have some significance there. But just getting back to White in the running game, I mean, I've always asked, like, who's the Patriots' best player? I think Ramondre Stevens showed that he is the Patriots' best player.
I mean, that was an unbelievable performance, and that's why I give Alex Van Pelt a ton of credit for what they did from a game plan perspective, where they used an extra offensive lineman on 18 snaps, and the closest team to them last week was 6. But if you look at the numbers, Ramondre had 120 yards and 118 were after contact, and Barkley was the closest to him last week at 86. He was 22 yards over expectation, which was the 5th best in the entire NFL. And the Patriots, if you look at, I'm not saying this is the be-all, end-all, PFF had them ranked as the 25th in terms of run block rate. And remember, they had a 6 lineman out there a lot. Ramondre actually forced 10 missed tackles, which was 5 more than any other player in the league. Najee Harris and Bijan Robinson tied in that particular category. But the more you look back at that game, the more it was about just the individual brilliance of Ramondre Stevenson. And you go back to 2022, this guy was 3rd in the NFL in yards per attempt after contact. It was at 3.81. He really had a great season because of himself, not because of the blocking. And I thought we saw a lot of that on Sunday, especially that final drive to close out the game where he's just dragging guys. I thought he looked awesome. I think he looks, and I don't know if you agree with this, Joe, I know he said he slimmed down, but he looks quicker, more agile. The only thing I'd have in terms of a concern going forward is in 2022, we saw him wear down, right? I mean, he had the 25 carries in this game, and I want them to keep feeding Ramondre. This is the way that they can win the game. But that would be my one concern about Ramondre Stevenson, is just wearing down late in the season. But you got to continue to feed him, especially early on this season. And Seattle, it feels like you should be able to run the ball on them. I'm more scared about trying to throw the football against that defense with 2 really good corners, one that's 6'4" in Woolen and another one in Witherspoon, who went in the first round with Christian Gonzalez 2 years ago.
Just going to ask you about that. Just another thing on, maybe you mentioned it, but everyone raved about Saquon Barkley's week, right? Ramondre was better after contact, so just to put it up there, his performance really should stand out. Just getting back to that Seattle defense, Michael McDonald, right? He's coming over from Baltimore. I know that Brissett has seen him before and has actually struggled. If you want to look up some numbers, I got them for you, but I know you're the numbers guy. Look those up. Can the Patriots, they're going to tell you they're going to run the football. Can they get into play-action situations, and how do they find Pop Douglas and Jalen Polk?
Yeah, that's what concerns me, right? Because if you look at last week, Jacoby Brissett was actually pressured on 44.8% of his dropbacks, which was 26 in the NFL. He was only kept clean on 55.2% of them, which obviously is not a good number whatsoever. So that's the thing that I'm trying to sort of comprehend what they're going to do when it comes to that. Like, are they going to find a way to protect them, and I just question that. I mean, Layden Robinson graded out a 63rd to 64 guards as it pertains to pass block rate. He gave up 5 pressures. They had to pull a core forward to put Vadarian Lowe into the game. And when you look at it, 121 yards, and I don't blame Van Pelt for playing the way they did because it was working. They could stay on the field running the football, but you start to look at it, Brissett had 3.6 yak per completion, so that was 23rd, so they weren't doing anything after the catch. And if you look at his completed air yards, it was 16th at 4.5. So it's tough when you can't throw the ball down the field and when you have nothing as it pertains to sort of the short passing game. That's why, to your point about Douglas, I think he's the guy they have to get involved. I mean, Douglas last year was top 5 in the NFL in yak per reception. I really don't think that this Patriots team is going to be able to have a downfield passing game, although I know Alex Van Pelt would like to have that based on what they like to do in Cleveland in the past. But I really think the guy that I was the most surprised, and it's not his fault, but the guy that I was most surprised wasn't involved in that game plan was Douglas. He had a catch on, one of the first 2 series of the game. And I'm thinking, this is going to be a big Douglas game. Part of the reason I took him for over 4.5 receptions. I thought it would be a big DeMario Douglas game. They have to find something in the passing game because now, everybody around the league knows that Alex Van Pelt put out the extra lineman on 18 snaps last week. Mike McDonald, if you look at some of his numbers last year against the McVay, Shanahan offenses of the league, looking at his numbers against the Dolphins, et cetera, he's one of the best game planners in the league. He has really good personnel, and the Patriots are going to have to throw the ball at some point in this game. And I hope that it's Douglas. And to your point, Polk as well. I understand he's more of a veteran, but Osborne was way more involved for my liking. He had the most targets on the team with 6. I did like the fact that they got the tight ends involved. Maybe that's something they can do in this game as well. I mean, the only guy that had over 10 yak yards, which shouldn't be surprising, is Austin Hooper. So maybe that's one way to get it done is just quick play action pass game to the tight ends. But they got to find something in the pass game. And I don't want to sound like I'm negative because I was very impressed with the game planning both on the offensive side and the defensive side. But I just think at some point we got to look at the reality of you're going to have to throw for more than 121 yards to beat Seattle.
Yep, and just think of their receivers, right? DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. They even got Laviska Shenault, who's a flyer, Jake Bobo, Noah Fant, Farrell Brown's there. There's a lot of options. I think the Patriots are a little short at corner. And we saw what happened to Marco Wilson last week. I'm pretty sure that they look at that one. I got a couple more for you, Brian, before we let you go. All right, so this is just something we noticed. I'm not trying to start a discourse or anything like that. But did you watch Drake May on the sideline in week 1? And was it uncharacteristic that he was just standing there with a earpiece in with no helmet and not coming over during timeouts? I don't want people to think I'm starting something. I just am curious. Shouldn't he have a helmet on, ready to go? I don't know if you looked into that at all.
No, I didn't really notice that, but I mean, that's an interesting tidbit. It's tough for me to judge too much on what Drake May is doing on the sideline. So I guess your point is you just want him around Jacoby Brissett.
You saw him though, right? You saw they showed him on the sideline.
I saw him with the earpiece on without the helmet.
But did he look like he was ready to play a football game?
That's probably a fair point. Although, in fairness, I guess maybe you do have to assume he could go in based on what happened.
Jacoby Brissett was on his back. I would have had my helmet on, ready to start firing footballs.
Yeah, I got to imagine too, though. It's got to be a totally different feeling going from you go to North Carolina, you're the guy, right? I mean, for all these guys that come out of the college level, and then all of a sudden it's a totally different thing where you're sitting and Jaden Daniels is playing and Caleb Williams is playing and heck, Bo Nix. The only guy that had a worse weekend at the quarterback position than Bo Nix was Tom Brady making his debut on Fox. But I'm not going to put too much into what happened on the sidelines with Drake May, but it is going to be interesting to see when they turn the keys over to him because, hey, if it's one of these things where it's hey, our receivers aren't really getting open, our pass blocking isn't great, which, again, it wasn't great in that game. Run blocking is a different conversation, but, hey, we have a guy that can make plays on the move. One of the biggest plays Jacoby Brissett made in a game was picking up a first down with his legs. So I do wonder when they make the transition to May because I do think they're going to play well defensively for the majority of the season. You make a good point about the Seattle receivers. I think they'll put Gonzalez on Metcalf because of what Surtain, a bigger corner, did on Metcalf. The question, though, is like Jonathan Jones, is he going to take on Lockett? Is he going to take on JSN? Like they have a lot of weapons, that Seattle team. I actually took them in alternate line before the season. It went over 9.5 games. I just think they're loaded. But circling back, sorry, as I digress, I'm not too upset about the Drake May situation. I didn't even think of it until you brought it up. But hey, man, I'm all for it.
I've asked everybody.
Get it going.
Everybody I've had on, I've asked. I'm not trying to make a thing of it. I'm just, I like just thinking back over the years, right? Jimmy Garoppolo always had a helmet on. Like Brian Hoyer was right there. Dude, Jarrett Stidham was there when Cam Newton was the quarterback. Even last year, Mac Jones had a helmet on, even though he was sulking when Bailey Zappi was playing. He still did. This guy looked like he just had the off day with an earpiece in.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. I don't know, but I do remember Mac last year looking pretty miserable on the sidelines when it was Bailey Zappi. And now that you bring up Mac, I got to say this, like, Jacoby Brissett, not that he did anything outstanding, but Mac would have lost that game, right? Like, he would have found a way to take sacks by himself. He would have found a way to throw the ball away. And, quite frankly, and I know Gerard Mayo joked around about the athleticism of Jacoby Brissett, he couldn't pick up the first downs that Jacoby Brissett did. So it was nice to have a game where it was just like, even though we know there's not a high upside with the quarterback, there isn't sort of like that idea he's just going to lose the game for you. Yeah, maybe Jacoby Brissett, he certainly didn't win the game for the Patriots. Ramondre Stevenson and the defense did that for you, and some of the Duggar play was unbelievable. The Jonathan Jones play on fourth down was unbelievable. The play on special teams by Cardona was unbelievable. But Brissett didn't lose the game for you, and Mac lost games for this team over the past 2 years.
Yeah, people think I'm making a bigger deal about the Drake May thing than it is. I don't know. One of the most important...
I think it, Joe, I'm all for a hot take, but I think you may be too.
No.
But I like it, man. Keep going with it.
You know what, though? Isn't a big part of this year his progression?
Yeah, certainly. And
shouldn't he be over there when it's 4th and 2? What are you going to run here? What's the defense? What are we doing? Like, shouldn't I just... Again, maybe I'm making a big deal of nothing, but I just thought it was interesting that he didn't even have a helmet on.
Yeah, I got to think. Like, I have to pay more attention to this next week. And also, like, when I'm watching the rest of the games, I got to, like, look out for see how many backup quarterbacks don't have the helmet on. Like, I got to pay more attention to this, and I got to pay more attention to the May situation as well.
Well, they're so transparent. We could ask, hey, what's Drake May's role on the sideline when Jacoby's playing in a game?
Yeah, I can't wait to hear Mayo's answer on that one. Although I will give Mayo credit, like, for all the criticism, and I think some of it was fair on like I thought that he completely botched a ton of the answers on the quarterback situation over the summer. Like, for them to come out and be one of the best game plan teams in the NFL this week, I thought that was impressive, especially considering like a rookie coach like Antonio Pierce with the Raiders. They're down 6, 4th and 1 on the other team's territory. They don't go for it. They give the ball back to the Chargers. They end the game. He says after the game, well, it was a long one. So the rookie coach of the Raiders is actually a topic of conversation right now. Mayo maybe is a topic of conversation, but for the right reason. So I do give them credit. Like, they were really well prepared for that game. So that's one thing, like, before the season, like, based on the way he handled the media, I think a lot of us were questioning what it was going to look like in terms of from a game plan perspective. I mean, he passed the first test with flying colors. Not to say, like, I've completely changed my tune on what I think the Patriots are going to be this season. I don't think they're going to be a very good football team, but I definitely feel more optimistic about the coach after what we saw in week 1.
Agreed. I think at least for 1 week he was validated for 1 week. I know you guys over at The Ringer, I don't know if you have any insight on this or not, but the Vince McMahon documentary will be coming out soon. And I know that The Ringer has some involvement in that. Are you going to get a sneak peek at that?
I don't know if I'll get a sneak peek, but the boss is part of that whole documentary. It looks pretty cool, man. And I think they had to, I don't know exactly like how many episodes it's going to be, but there was the trailer's already out there on Netflix. I'm excited for it. I'm not like the biggest wrestling guy. Like, obviously when I was a kid, I watched it, in the, what was it called? Like the Attitude Era. I watched that. I watched some of that. Have you seen that thing, like the Monday Night Wars?
Oh, yeah, bro, I go to WrestleMania every year. Like,
okay.
Oh, no, I'm locked in. I just want to know if you got any, does the boss get any juice? Like, I don't know. I feel like I need a sneak peek before it's released.
Yeah, well, I know. I know the boss has a lot of juice on the documentary. I would wager that I'm not going to get early look at that documentary. But yeah, I'm excited to see it.
I want to say, it looks great. The trailer was outstanding. The Red Sox might be coming back.
Yeah, I see this here. Get Yoshida going, man. Yoshida's been quiet. I mean, really, the whole offense has been quiet lately with the exception of Tyler O'Neill, which has been sort of the aggravating part with this team. By the way, speaking of wrestling documentaries, did you watch that? What was the series on? It was on, like, Vice. They had, like, the Chris Benoit one. They had a bunch of different. That was pretty cool.
Dark Side of the Ring is absolutely outstanding. Watch the Jake the Snake one if you get a chance. That one is, wild.
Yeah, and I did watch that show. What was it? Was it on Showtime or Stars? Like that? It was like this wrestling show where it was like this. They ran this thing in like Atlanta. It was like a small market thing. I forget the guy's name. One of the brothers' names was Ace. I don't know if you remember that show, but it was. I think it was fairly.
I love. Listen, anything that's like you got to watch the Iron Claw, the Von Erichs movie.
Dude, yeah, I watched it, man. I've never been, I didn't know their whole story, but that movie is so sad. I felt like, you know what else? It's like Manchester by the Sea. Watching that movie, I just felt horrible.
You never watch it again. You watch it once and never again.
Yeah, I'm like, why? And I watched Manchester by the Sea back like during COVID when I had COVID. I'm like, why would I do this to myself? But I had the same reaction after I watched Iron Claw, and like. That was, I mean, the movie was, I thought Efron was awesome in that. And what's the kid's name that's in,
The Bear.
He's in The Bear. He's in, Shameless. I thought that guy was awesome. Yeah, it was a good movie. It was just sad.
Yeah, the wrestling stuff is great, and it's all moving to Netflix really soon. Red Sox 5-3 now. Here they go. They're making a big comeback here.
We got life. They're the zombies, man. Like Alex Spears said weeks ago. They're the zombies. Somehow they're going to win this game, and we're going to have to like redo the interview.
No, I was going to say we shouldn't hang up because it just keeps going, but we do have to go. His name is Brian Barrett. He's of The Ringer. Check out his Off the Pike podcast. James White will join him every week after the Patriots games. Brian, appreciate the time, bro. We'll catch up soon.
All right, Joe. Have a good night, man.
All right, he's Brian Barrett of The Ringer, and I want a copy of that Vince McMahon thing. Skaz, do we have something?
Joe, when we return from break, I have an answer on the Drake May thing for you.
Yes! Let's do it. Take the headlines here, and we'll an update on Drake May. We'll do that next here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Red Sox battling back right now. They were down 4-1. Cutter Crawford gave up 2 home runs. It's now 5-3, but Connor Wong struck out looking, and, it looks like Alex Cora may challenge the play. So we'll find out, but they are threatening. It's now a 2-run game. Still battling for a playoff spot. Patriots and Seahawks. They'll meet this Sunday in the Patriots home opener. Looks like the big left tackle for the Seahawks is injured, George Fant. No update yet on him. We will know the injury reports tomorrow. Headlines. They are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. This September, make losing weight part of your new routine. Energy, clarity, better health. Find it all at awaken180weightloss.com. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. We got musings coming up. End of the hour here. All right. I did post game the other night. So for the people that are like, is Joe going to do this all night? Or the people who think I'm reaching, we were on post game. I work with Leroy Irvin. Leroy asked the simple question. Did you watch Drake May on the sideline? I said, I did. He had an earpiece in and looked like he wasn't going to play. On some key third, fourth downs, I didn't see him with a helmet on. I didn't see him with the offensive coordinator or Brissett. All I did was see him on a sideline with an earpiece in. I don't even know if I saw him throw a football. Then when I saw Brissett take the big hit, I wanted to see an image of Drake May with a helmet on throwing a football. I didn't get that. So if you think I'm being obtuse, I'm just bringing up the fact that we hear how they're developing him. So what is his priority on game day? And Skaz, it sounds like this question got brought up earlier today.
Yeah, so I want to shout out listener Kevin, who called in during the Brian Barrett interview and said, hey, I think Zoe and Mike Reese may have discussed this a little bit earlier today, so I went back through the archiver and I found it. And Joe, I think you're going to find this piece of audio interesting. About a minute and a half here, a little long, but some great insight.
Talking about this a little bit in the break, Doug. So Drake May had the earpiece in, and I think the main thing, in my view, from listening to the coaches, what they want him to do is to hear the play call in his ear and almost recite it back. You know, because that's what he would have to do if he was in the game. Yeah. And this is right in Zoe's wheelhouse. I'm gonna step aside. But why is that so important? Because I don't think they did that in college, right?
No, they didn't do that. He didn't do that in college. Like, he and Joe Milton sat there in meetings with us in the preseason and said, we haven't called a play in the huddle since we were 17, both of us. That was mind-boggling to me. So when was the last time he was really a backup on a sideline? How does he know sideline protocol in the NFL? You know, it gets more advanced every level you go to. College, it's pretty advanced, but NFL, 12 guys up in the box. We're traveling twice as many assistants as we have in past 20 years. You know, there's more people involved here. They got cameras. They film everything. Drake has the earpiece in, and they have a little monitor set, so he hears what they're telling Jacoby in his headset, and it shuts off at the 15-second mark, just like Jacoby's does. So he probably recites the play over, and then looks at the coverage. And then when the series is over, Van Pelt gets the board, gets the Microsoft Pro, sits down with Jacoby, flashes, one guy plays, so the guy plays, sits, and Drake's standing right over top listening to everything he's telling him. And then, that's it. Okay, we meet real quick, and then you go on your way. Go down, stand by the defense, because they're on the field. That's where all the space is on the sideline. So it may look like he's down there disengaged, but he's not. He's just going down there to stand there and watch a game. Some guys like watching a game from behind the offense. Some guys like watching it from behind the defense.
Okay. So pretty transparent.
You were kind of right in that he doesn't. They don't call play. He doesn't. So he's got to recite the plays. This is kind of speak to the fact that he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. We said it. It wasn't going to be Drake May. It was a fun storyline, but he wasn't ready.
I'm glad someone else. We teased it last night because it was a win. I didn't want to do this last night, but tonight So now it sounds like his job was to wear the earpiece and listen to it until it comes down to 15 so he can listen to it, know the protocol.
Sounds like they had someone that he was reciting every play back to as well throughout the game.
Yep. And so he went and sat with the defense because they're basically sitting down resting while he has the space to really see.
Well, I think Zoe was saying, he's going down to the defense end when the defense is on the field because those guys are off the sideline, so he can just watch, basically.
Okay. So him being on his own, looking like he's not playing, was really was part of the plan.
Which I think it just shows that they have a plan.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yes.
The answer is we have an answer. It looked like we thought it looked. It was what we thought it was. But they are working with him. Because he's never worn the headset before. And Just him not wearing the helmet, though, maybe that's a Joe thing, okay? That's a Joe thing. But okay, we have an answer. Mike Reese stepped away. Zoe, who's done it in his career. Anything else here?
No, you had a question. We got an answer. I think all parties are happy.
All right, that's it. I'm not going to talk about it again.
Well, now you will talk about it again if Brissett takes another big hit. We don't see a helmet or some arm movement.
What if he's wearing a helmet on Sunday?
And then he's more ready to go, right? Is that a sign of progression, Joe?
There
Can we
go.
use it as a barometer for his growth, his progression? We've said, how are we going to be able to judge Drake May if he's not playing? Can we judge him by how ready he looks on the sideline?
Let Drake bake.
I'm just so happy we're not talking about draft picks already. That they won a game. They look like a competitive football team. We don't have to sit here and do. Even though Joe Alt looked awesome, I will say Joe Alt certainly looked good in week 1.
Could you say they're air fraying May? Air fray May?
They're marinating him. Yeah.
Air fray May.
Marinate for May.
Marinate May. All right. That's it for me. No more. Before we get the musings, we'll do that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray, and this hour of the sports has been brought to you by our friends over at Valvoline Instant Oil Change. For quick, convenient vehicle maintenance this month, get your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change now open in Franklin, Billerica, and Peabody. I'm Joe Murray. Musings next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
do here, but all the other teams won tonight, so they need a win in order to stay in the wild card standings. The Patriots getting ready for Sunday's game against Seattle, which, of course, can be heard right here on 98.5 The Sports. Of headlines, they are brought to you by Awaken Windy Weight Loss. This September, make losing weight part of your new routine. Energy, clarity, better health. Find it all at awakenwindyweightloss.com. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, Murray's Musings here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Thank you to everyone that's been listening and hanging out tonight, because it's an absolute cesspool on social media right now, and I'm out. Skaz and I, we're out. We are out. 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 I did want to mention something, though. Last night, when Christian McCaffrey was inactive, there were people who bet Jordan Mason over 13.5. Right. I bet the Patriots to have the lowest amount of wins. I think I did it before the Celtics won the championship, dude. Okay? Well, I got my odds at plus 345. Do you know it's plus 300 now? So let's just hypothetically say that happened. I should get my plus 345. Not the uproar. Decomposing, decompressing. You know how it works, everybody. But they have settled. We apologize for any confusion. What else do we have going on tonight, guys? Anything on your mind tonight? What do you think about this Happy Gilmore, too?
Yeah, I mean,
Sydney Sweeney?
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't?
I saw Julie Bowen is back as.
I saw her from Arrested Development.
Yeah,
I've talked about that show, I think, every day this week.
No, not Arrested Development. Modern Family.
Modern Family. Why can't I get them right?
Arrested Development is hilarious.
Remember last night we did a whole James Earl Jones thing? I missed one. So I never, you know what show I never, ever, ever have watched? I know all about it, but I've never watched it. Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. I saw those clips floating around on Twitter as well.
But
Never
James Earl Jones was on.
Apparently with Carrie Fisher, I believe. The first time they ever met. Just kind of wild.
You got to be kidding me.
Well, he was just in the booth.
Oh, that's right. He wasn't the guy who played Darth Vader.
Okay, so on that note, Joe, we had a gentleman call in last night who told us that Darth Vader, not actually Darth Vader, he was just the voice, and I may have given that man some gruff. My girlfriend, who doesn't often listen to the show, but went out to dinner with her mom, I think, last night, happened to catch that on the way.
Oh, they were listening on the way home.
Thank you. And told me I was a little too mean.
Wait. So wait a second. Everyone says James Earl Jones, Darth Vader.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that he needs to be the guy underneath the helmet.
Yeah. So it may have lashed out a little bit. But
do you care who Jason Voorhees is?
No.
Do you care that it's Kane Hodder or whatever the hell the guy's name is? No. Nobody cares.
Kane Hodder's been every bad guy ever. Good for him. But I take that as I took personal offense to a caller thinking that me and Joe Murray spending 40 years on this earth, myself 30, that we did not know that James Earl Jones was not in fact Darth Vader. So as Joe Murray would say, I apologize, but I'm not sorry.
Thank you. Did you say that?
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Yes.
So shout out that guy. Hope he's still listening. Love you, mean it, but I apologize, but I'm not sorry.
You know what it's kind of like? Hey, did you guys know that James Earl Jones didn't play Darth Vader? Dude, I don't care. The voice is all I care about.
Joe, did you know that Pedro Pascal often not in the Mandalorian suit?
Oh, really?
It is a.
That's not him?
It is a stunt actor.
What about
for
the
most
Power
of it.
Rangers when I was growing up?
That one I don't know.
Was like Kimberly really the Pink Ranger? Or was she just the hot girl that wore pink?
I can't help you there.
I don't know. Kylo Ren, is he really the guy that was in Girls and
A Marriage Story?
yeah,
there,
all that
whatever?
guy? I actually kind of like Adam Driver.
Yes.
I kind of like that guy. I don't know why I like him.
Yeah, me too. And I don't know why, but I
Did you
kind
ever
of
see
like
the show
him.
Girls?
No, never seen it.
You know what? I despise the girl who's the lead character and the writer of that show. And why am I blanking on her name right now? I don't know what it is about that woman, but when I see her face, I don't like her. And I don't mean it out of disrespect. I think it's her character that's made it that way more than anything. What is her name? Why am I can't? Why can't I think? Hey, Lena Dunham. It's not Lena Dunham's problem. It's her character, Hannah Horvath. That I despise because of her character. I despise her. That's not a bad show, dude. I think you should watch that. I mean, I'm not. Here I am telling you to go watch Girls.
Hey,
but
Joe Murray, Sex in the City. I mean,
I'm telling you,
you're watching everything.
That show, it's so funny. I could come full circle on these things and bring it all back to Sopranos or Sex in the City.
Did you have you watched the Sopranos thing yet? The David
No,
Chase
have
doc?
you?
I have not yet.
Oh, yeah.
But I heard it was very good.
All right. I know what I need. I need focus.
There's a T-shirt. What does Joe Murray need?
No. There are some games, like betting games, where I'm like, all right, I'm in my element. Let's. It's like I strap myself in and I'm like, here we go.
You're like Chase Daniel with the backwards hat. You're ready to go.
I got my game face up. I'm ready. Yeah. In high school, I won Athlete of the Year. And I went home with the trophy. I won multiple trophies. And I put them all in the front seat with a seatbelt. Because I thought that was the cool thing to do. I don't know why I'm talking about something that happened 25 years ago, but flex. Anyways. What else is going on? What happened on the way? Traffic. Dude, what the hell happened on 95 today? Did anybody hear about this?
Traffic was bad today.
Dude, okay. I'm going 95 south to Waltham. On the left-hand side, something's on fire.
I didn't see this.
Just fire. Fire. You know?
Is there a fire?
It wasn't a car. I think it was debris. Like maybe something fell off a truck. I don't know. But dude, the rubbernecking that was going on, out
on rubbernecking.
Out. Something. I left early. I had to record a spot. I couldn't even do that. I tried to I got a haircut. What do you think's the right protocol? I was telling you this. I went to the haircutter down the street. I don't know their names. I'm sorry. I was in a pinch, went nearby, and I thought they did a solid job. I have one for you. Know what I like about the guys that down here that might be a little different than my normal barber? I love my barber. Kevin, if you listen, I love you. You know what these guys do, though? They trim my nose hairs. Do you know what's another thing that happens when you get older? I'm 42. Because I'm feeling 42.
I'm a man.
I'm 40. I have hair in my ears. Like little strings. Not a lot. It's not like a bush, It's like
John Wooden.
No, but they're like stringy, and every once in a while I can just grab and I don't know where am I going with this.
Self-care with Joe Murray.
Yes, but no, this guy down, I like him. He took the buzzer and he clipped my nose hairs.
Yeah, but I really hope those are one-use nose hair trimmers. I don't want them using the same.
Don't care.
You don't. So you'll share nose hair trimmers.
No, they have the little water, the peroxide thing. They got that big bin that's blue and they just throw it in there.
Yeah.
You know what else they have? Do you want aftershave? I go, yes. Because I want to smell fresh. But yeah, they did the old nose. And the guy's just in my ear. I go, dude, it's bad today, huh?
One Mason Souza has chimed in. That's some old man stuff right there, Joe.
But no, you know what? You know what I want? And again, the big thing now for me is the eyebrows. Dude, these things get bushy, bro. There's like antlers and everything.
Antlers?
Dude, yeah. You ever see a snail and it's got like that little antlers? My brows get those every once in a while. But I asked him, I go, hey, man, you did my nose. You did my ears. Can you do my brows? And he just got a little right over it. And then he just kind of put like that little stuff on it. I feel like a new man. I got some eyebrows. I can do the people's eyebrow. But I feel like, so again, you know what else is an essential when you get a barber? Back of the neck. You know what? Do you like when they do the mirror in the other mirror?
I mean, I'm saying, yeah, it's good every time. But yes, I guess I appreciate the effort.
If I was going to cut your head, right? Like, what do you do? Do you just shave this? Like, do you even shave the sides?
I taper the back, 2 on the sides, and then either scissor cut the top or like
so that's what you
7 on the top.
You get in the chair, right?
I got my guy. We've been going to him
so
for
he
a while
knows.
now.
He goes, taper in the back, 2 on the sides. You're like, yep.
Done, yep.
And then, like, do you guys have a conversation?
Golf. We're talking golf usually, maybe a little NFL.
I want no communication.
Shout out my guy, Mark. Mark at Fine Lines.
Mark, Fine Lines. God bless you for talking golf. My guy, Kevin, he's business, but he wants to know what's up. He's like, so what's up? What's good? What do I need to know about sports? Who are you betting this weekend? And then he puts the towel over my face in that little smog machine or whatever it is, smoke machine. Going to the barber with Joe. Come on in, guys. No, I listen.
We got LeBron's barbershop. Now we got Joe Murray's barbershop.
Yeah, listen, hey, Ice Cube, friend of the program, right? Maybe we can do a barbershop 4 with Joe. And it's just bald men who get their brows, nose, and ears trimmed. You know what else? Know what else should be? Okay, now I'm on a fire. You ever had a pedicure?
I have not. I've heard good things and I've never had it done.
Let me tell you, it's life-changing. Because, you're going to have to do it yourself. Or someone's going to have to help you. But I think that there should be an all-in-one barbershop pedicure. Think about it. You get in the chair, right? You take your shoes off. You put them in like a little bin with like Epsom salts, right? You get your hair buzzed, whatever. I mean, would the hair go in there, though?
Yeah, that was my first thing.
Out. Never mind.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Unless there's like a
cover or something. You're sliding your feet into like something that's covered.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. And then once they're done, it's like you spin the chair. And all of a sudden you put it on this thing and someone's just, Well, I haven't read the chat. I can only imagine what...
people are very, very pro pedicure.
All right.
Very pro pedicure.
See, now we're cooking. See, is that Mason? Hi, Mason. Hi, Mason. Do you have that or no?
I'll say, oh, yes. Now I know what you're talking about. Joe Murray having quite a time recording a video.
True story on that one. Because everyone thinks I was baked out of my mind. I wasn't.
You were sleeping.
I was sleeping. This was when I was part-time Joe working 4 jobs. But they called me. I don't know who it was. Might have been, was it Jeremy? Maybe it was Jeremy. And they go, hey, Joe, do you want to send a message to Mason? He's leaving. And I went, yeah. And so I grabbed my...
Hey, Mason, it's Joe.
Play it all.
I will miss you. I will miss the fake dong report that we did one summer. I will never forget the time that we wanted to create a new Joe show open. So we took Marilyn Manson's Dope Show and made it Joe Show. And you became Marilyn Mason. I always thought that was pretty cool. And I will forever and always mention you on the air as my man, Mason Souza. I'll miss you, bro. Straight cash, homie. Hey, Mason, it's Joe.
I wasn't high. I wasn't baked. I swear, I woke up and I went, hey, Mrs. Joe. No, we did that. One time we made the Marilyn Manson song, Dope Show, and took out the word dope and put Joe.
I always thought that was pretty cool.
Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? That was a belly laugh. That came from way down under.
Hey, Mason, it's Joe.
Keep going.
I will miss the fake dong report that we did one summer.
Yeah, we did a
over
fake
the
dong
All-Star
report.
break.
We had no home runs. We just made.
I will never forget the time that we wanted to create a new Joe Show open. So we took Marilyn Manson's Dope Show and made it Joe Show, and you became Marilyn Mason. I always thought that was pretty cool.
That's funny.
That's tremendous.
That's funny. Happy birthday to Matt Rife, who's 28 years old. Oh, jeez. God. I don't even know if we should say birthdays today. There's some bad people in this world. Colin Firth is 64 years old. Jeez, everybody sucks.
How about Roger Maris?
Ah,
Day in 1934.
Yes. Big Daddy Kane, 56 years old today. Oh, we got a big one. We got a big one. Happy birthday to Arnold Palmer. Not just a great golfer, but a great drink.
Great drink. Great Sports Center commercial as well.
It's my favorite drink. When I go out now, what I prefer is lemonade unsweetened iced tea. Because the lemonade is so much sugar in it. It just, when I get the sugar lemonade in there, it's a lot. Joey Votto, remember him? 41-year-old.
Ben Wallace.
Oh, Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Jose Feliciano, 79 years old. Joe Perry, 74 years old of Aerosmith. Chris Columbus, 66 years old today.
Another Hall of Famer, Randy Johnson. The big unit.
61 years old. Is he the most intimidating pitcher of all time? Like as far as stature?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like another. I feel like Goose Gossage was a pretty big guy. That was before my time.
Oh, Brian Wilson's beard.
Brian Wilson's beard when he was dyeing it, yeah.
Rin Tin Tin. It's his birthday. In the Canine Cup. Anyways, all right. Well, we're late. Hey, Mason. Is Joe. Can you come back next segment with the Dope Show? I wonder if that's in the system.
I got to try and find it.
I wonder if that's in there. All right. We'll take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
I always thought that was pretty cool.
Don't go anywhere. trend. Weekday mornings at 10 on the Sports Hub. Around here, we call them the Joe Murray pre-party. It's Felger and Maz afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
Joe. In the Joe Show. Wanna get you high. Back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. Marilyn Manson. Jeff, our friend Jeff. Oh my God, Marilyn Mason. And live time, that was absolutely brilliant. The innocent lack of effort into that song was genius. Listen, have you heard the intro to the show? Well, it's instead of the big show, it's just Sean Silver's voice. Joe. Yes, it's imagine the brilliance. Sometimes it just needs to be so simple. It's so great. And I feel like there's a lot of musicians that are so simple. They make it so great. Oh, boy. I'm getting off Twitter. I'm out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for tweeting at me. I'm done for the night. I'm out. That was Sean Silver, yes. People, Mason checking in on that. Guys, what else can we do tonight? Like, what else?
Let's take a look at the rundown.
Yeah, let's see. For those who don't know, there is a discourse for the show, by the way. If anybody wants to, join it. It's on my phone. I just don't really go in there, but there is a discourse, and that means that
Discord.
Discord. What did I say? Discord. A Discord. Wow. Jeez. Last night I said Mustafa instead of Mufasa. No, that makes me feel old, right? The guy with the hair in his ears. But yes, there is a Discord for the show. I believe it's Joe Murray Show. But you can always just throw stuff in there throughout the day if you'd like. And maybe it's something we'll do a little bit more when there's games, because obviously we're not live. We're here watching the game. So there is a Discord if you want to hang out. But looking at the rundown tonight, what do we have for 10:30 in the rundown?
10:30, we have a Red Sox update, which not good.
They lost.
Not good. Bruins Swayman update we have not gotten to yet. It feels like that's going to happen this week.
Over under on the number. Over under 6.8.
I think it's going to be around 7.5.
AAV, because in the world. I'm kidding.
Under 8, though. It's definitely going to be under 8.
I'm under 8, yeah. They have $9 million in cap space, right?
I think 7.5-ish is. I know.
6.9 would be great. Right? Both sides, 6.9. Let's just call it a deal. I will say this. I felt like that was Tucker that just won a bat at the game, the guy on TV. It also looks like Dundero. Oh, wow. Some guy caught a bat that went flying in the air and then off a chair. Oh, that's cool. This is the highlight of Nesson, huh? This is where we're at now with Nesson, is we're watching flying bats. No, baseball bats, not what were we talking about?
Swayman.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's going to be around 7.5, and a lot of that comes from UC Saros, the Predators goalie, who's widely viewed to be a top 5 goalie in the league, one of the best goalies the last few years. he signed an 8-year contract with a 7.74 AAV to match his jersey number, 74. And Barry Trotz, actually, their GM, went on to say that he wanted a $7.4 million deal to really match his jersey number, and his agent pushed him up to the higher number, 7.74. I would have a tough time with Swayman getting more than Saros just because of the tenure. Saros has been doing this for years as one of the top goalies in the league. So I think the years, it's probably going to be around 8 years, seems to be what everyone thinks, but I think it's going to be closer to 7.5 than 7.7.
So third in the league over the last 2 seasons, to your point, 50 appearances. So I go back to what Ryan Whitney said way back, was it Spit and Chicklets? Way back when he said the original report was 4 years, 24.8. So that would have been a 6.2 AAV. And was it Frank Saravalli who said that they want to be a long-term deal at 8.5? Isn't that a big gap?
That is a very big gap.
But, like, what is it? Okay, so if they meet halfway, 6.2 to 8.5, that would be 2.3. What's half of 2.3? 1.15, right?
Joe,
1.5.
I'm here so I don't have to do math.
6. So that would be a 7 and change. And you said the number was, again, over under what? 8?
I think it's going to be around 7.5, if I had to guess.
Yeah, so 1.5. So that would be 7.7. Right? Just get this thing done, will you? And the only defense I have for the Bruins is this. There are other guys in the league right now who don't have their extensions. So there are Calgary, you name it. There's teams all over that have plenty of guys that don't have a long-term contract, that are waiting. It's the only thing I can give the Bruins. They have one spot left. The cap space would... Okay, so 8.64 is what they have available. And I know that the 32 Thoughts or whatever, they mentioned that it's a little bit closer than we thought. I think I saw that report yesterday. Yeah, Jeremy Swayman closer to deal than previously reported. That was Darren Dreger yesterday. Just get it done. Whatever. I don't care about the number anymore. I really don't. Anything over 6.8, though, I'm going to be like, ooh, got his money. So I guess my number is 6.7. Over, under. If it's under, they got to steal. If it's over, it was a big number. All right, we'll take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray. Final headline of the night here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox lost tonight. Everybody else won. It's not good. It's not good. Wow. I mean, this NFL is supposed to be like this metric-driven league, right? So they're up 21%. So okay, they're at 33. They thought it was going to be at 55. It's up. Maybe this is something you got to give it more time. It's 1 week. They projected 55 to 60% higher. There was one return for a touchdown in week 1. I believe it was Arizona had a big one against Buffalo. There were 3 kick returns of at least 40 yards in week 1. The league averaged 1.3 such returns last season. The average drive start on kickoffs in week 1 was the 29.4 yard line. So it was a 4.4 yard improvement on last season's week 1. The average NFL game in week 1 had 45.8 points, making this the league's highest scoring week 1 since 2021. I thought numbers were down with the quarterbacks and touchdowns. So, very interesting. And I was reading this from Mark Mask of the Washington Post. I also saw this tonight because we've been trying to find somebody from Seattle to come on. I was reading Greg Bell. He writes for the News Tribune. He mentioned that DK Metcalf restructured his contract tonight. He gives the Seahawks an additional $9.5 million in salary cap space this year. It basically means there's a likelihood the team re-signs him to a big $100 million contract extension next year. So here we got a little scratch my back, scratch your situation here. DK Metcalf should be on the Patriots' radar. He should be on the Patriots' radar for next year. Big-time receiver, doesn't have the extension, can play with any quarterback. They were linked to him when Bill Belichick was there at the draft. So he takes a contract extension to free up $9.5 million. This has to be an ongoing negotiation between both sides. Keep your eye on that one. Wow. Imagine a team going to their star player and said, hey, can you help us this year? We'll give you a little more guaranteed. Maybe this is a big part of him getting an extension for next year. Imagine. Because the Bengals did not do that. They did not do that. I would mess with DK Metcalf. I'd give him the money. You're the Seattle Seahawks. Like, Geno Smith's your quarterback. Like, Kenneth Walker's a nice player, but, like, where are the stars? And I think Witherspoon's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But, Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think, could be a star in the league. I do. I feel like Sam Howell's the next guy in line for them, though. 617-779-0985. Topher, how you doing, bro?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm all right.
I just had a thought of something now that you actually said the DK Metcalf thing. What if he did the cut to see if he could actually be moved?
It does free them up $9.5 million this year, though. I don't know. That to me, Topher, I'm just going to say, I think that's more of a scratch your back, scratch mine kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, why don't we do this now, and then next year, for you doing us a solid, we're going to do you a solid.
Either that, or it could actually make them cheaper to actually be moved to somebody who actually has
they'd have to be
low money.
They'd have to be out of it by week 8 or something. I forget when the trade deadline is now, but yeah, I don't think he ain't going anywhere. He's a premier talent in the league. The only thing I can think of is he wants out because they won't pay him.
Yeah, I think he's a Seahawk for life. To be honest, the way he blends in over there. And the way he handles himself,
he's played with Russell Wilson and Geno Smith. So, and Drew Lock. So, the guy can play with anybody.
Yeah. If he can play with Drew Lock, he can play anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, hey, maybe Drake May would love him.
True. I'd be down for it. Question. Since you guys were talking about Jeremy Swayman, and I was actually in the car on my way home, if you sign him to a deal, my original number was about like 7.6, 7.8, because he's going to need money just because of like what his playoff like record is right now.
Well, not even that. He wants to set the market too. He doesn't want to take a lower deal to hurt the next guy. He even said that.
I think like even his number right now would be like probably inflated from what Tuca's was, which if I did my math properly, probably put him about like 8.2.
Yeah, because what was Tuca in this final year? 6, 7? I think it was between 6 and 7.
I think he was like about 6 point something, 7 million.
Well, just remember this. The Bruins have this thing where they don't want to pay a guy more than the top paid guy. So, what, Pasternak's the top guy paid on the team right now? So, like, they're not going near that.
Yeah, but Pasta can't do anything in the playoffs.
Ah, that's not true, Topher. Thank you for calling. Not true. Do I have to remind everybody who scored the game-winning goal in overtime of Game 7? Who was it, Skaz? Who scored the goal?
That would be one David Pastrnak.
And I complained about shootouts. And did it matter in the playoffs? Nope. I wonder if Topher said that to get me going. He doesn't believe that.
Trolling Topher.
Trolling Topher. We'll wrap this show up on the other side, and we'll tell you what we got going on tomorrow night here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
right, final segment here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We got a busy week for us. Next week, we have the Revs on Wednesday night, and then the Patriots game will be on Thursday. So the rest of this week, Dan Lifshatz, one of the Bankroll boys, will be here in studio from 8 to 9. We'll go around the NFL. So we'll do that tomorrow. Also, I am going to be on the off-air show. I'm not sure with who. It might be Felger. Is it Jim? I don't know.
I would guess it's Mike. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's.
Oh,
it's
you're
Mike.
hoping that-
I can't help it, Joe. I love the content. I am a fan of the Joe Murray Mike Felger experience.
Yeah. You know what's funny is you know me. If like we could be talking about a topic, but something randomly gets mentioned and I comment on it.
A Wheel of Fortune might be on the TV.
Well, that was funny because nothing. But at that time, well, I have done it here too. But the first time I did it, we were on remote and nothing worked. What I mean by it is, I think like the computer was frozen, right? So I couldn't go to a break. I couldn't talk, like nothing. And I was just like, all right, well, let's just go play Wheel of Fortune. This is great for the people who can't see it. What do we have this week? Yeah, so we have Lifshatz tomorrow night, off-air show tomorrow before the show. I think Thursday we're going to have John Serenides.
Can you imagine Felger being like, you call me Mike or Felgy? You don't call me Felger.
That Bernstein guy. Sources on the ground. I reached out to some sources on the ground up there. Not a
popular guy, it doesn't seem like.
Not a popular guy at all.
That was what my sources were telling me as well, from a listening perspective.
Oh, okay.
I have some friends that are Chicago natives.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of betting stuff with the guys up there. I didn't know who. What do you call him? Bernie or
I don't know. Bernstein.
He's gonna go down. He's going down. So he's been at one radio station for over like 18 years. And he didn't like it that someone called him by his last name.
Which is also the name of the show. You think Seinfeld's ever gotten upset that people call him Seinfeld?
For those who don't know, a sports radio host in Chicago was interviewing.
It wasn't even an interview; it was a crossover.
Oh, it was just a crossover.
He had like guest hosted right. From like
so this is
10 to 2 and 2 to 6 or whatever. They weren't even in the same room.
This is the equivalent of Felger and Maz going off the air, and then who's up next? Oh, it's Joe Murray live from Sylvan Street Grill.
You're like, oh, Felger, what'd you think of the Sox last night? And he goes, "Don't call me Felger."
And it went viral.
Well, because of Dave. But yeah, it was a very funny clip. The guy
really
is like
pissed Dave off.
The guy is like disgusted that he called him Bernstein.
Again, the only time I really get disgusted was, every once in a while, like me and Jim have the same last name, so every once in a while, like someone's like, "Oh, hey Jim," and I'm like, "Nope." And by the way, it happened in the building to Jim. "Hey Joe," and I looked at Jim and I go, "That guy did that on purpose."